Or maybe it's the jail. Miss Becky, did you call Santiago Hernandez to tell him we can't do the conflict?
Yes, I'm calling them. They barely answered their phone right now. So just tell them not to, that it's canceled. Right? Okay.
Do I have an ADA, Mr. Rick? Did I let in Mr. Martinez?
Yes, yes. David Nunes is on, Judge.
Okay, good.
And also Mr. Martinez. He's on.
Okay, I didn't remember.
And then, Your Honor, I'm here too. I'm with the BPU. I'm going to be covering for Mr. Setliff today on his cases.
Thank you, sir. Is Mr. Sedliff on vacation or something?
I believe he is in Kansas, ma'am, yes.
Martinez. He's on.
Okay, I didn't remember. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hines. Good morning, everybody. Judge Bonnie Rangel, 171st Judicial District Court. It is my honor and pleasure. We're starting a little bit late today, 8:10 a.m. I'm not very happy about that. It is 7/10/2020. Because we are in the midst of this COVID pandemic, the Texas Supreme Court has allowed us to participate via Zoom and YouTube Live. Is there anyone participating herein today that has any verbal objections to participating YouTube and Zoom? And if so, please make your objection known right now. Let the record reflect that there are no objections. My court reporter, Ms. Anita Garza, is on this Zoom hearing, as well as my bailiff and my court coordinator. If you want to use the breakout rooms or chat, oh no, we can't do that for this jail access. Forget that instruction. I want everybody to know that we are on YouTube Live to comply with the Texas Open Courts provision. Is there anybody here that once again verbally tell me you object to this process and its limitations? Very well. Let the record reflect no verbalizations. We are not going to record. Please, nobody record. The only recording is the official court reporter's record. That's the only one that can actually record these proceedings. Okay, now we're not going to do Judith Quintero or Bertha Hinojosa. Whoever is it, are they at the annex? Yeah, they're at the annex. We're not going to do those two because we need to reset. Unfortunately, one of them has COVID. Okay, Mr. Morales is there. Is that Mr. Morales?
Yes, ma'am.
You do speak English or Spanish?
Spanish.
Okay. Okay, at this time, court calls call number 2019-4538. Ricardo Morales, announcement of counsel, please.
David Nunes for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
Daniel Avalar for Ricardo Morales, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, buenos días, este es el intérprete de buenos días. Estamos aquí anunciando el caso 2019-4558, la Fiscalía de Texas contra Ricardo Morales. Presentación de abogados, David Núñez de la Fiscalía y Daniel Avelar de parte de Ricardo Morales.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Avelar, I got that email late yesterday. Or I read...
Judge, I'm sorry, the ID.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Morales, do you see and recognize your attorney on the screen?
Señor Morales, ¿usted ve y reconoce a su abogado en la pantalla?
Sí.
Yes.
And Mr. Avelar, do you see and recognize your client as a defendant in this case?
Y, señor Avelar, ¿usted ve y reconoce a su cliente como el acusado en el caso?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Sí, su señoría.
Okay. Mr. Avelar, your client is refusing to plea now? Is that the story?
That's correct.
Y señor Avelar, ¿su cliente se rehusó a declararse? ¿Esa es la historia? Eso es correcto, su señoría.
Okay. Can you just briefly tell me why?
¿Me puede decir brevemente por qué?
If
break
I
it up,
gather,
Mr. Avelar, and break it up because the interpreter, okay?
if I gather correctly, I think it's the guilt-innocence issue, Judge.
Y si lo recuerdo correctamente, creo que es el asunto de culpable e inocencia, su señoría.
Okay. But why was I told that he was going to plea is my question now.
Ok, pero ahora mi pregunta es entonces, ¿por qué me habían dicho que sí se iba a declarar?
So at our last setting, which I believe was the status conference about 2 weeks ago, Judge, we discussed some matters, specifically his behavior on PR bond.
Bueno, en nuestra última audiencia, nosotros hablamos, que era una conferencia de estatus que fue hace como 2 semanas, nosotros hablamos acerca de diferentes asuntos y básicamente era acerca de su comportamiento en libertad condicional.
Also, more specifically, Judge, the allegation is a true fourth DWI. And so the defense thought that the offer was reasonable, and it would also meet the objective of him being released from custody.
También, más específicamente, en ese momento, o sea, se pensaba que el delito es de conducir en estado de ebriedad un número cuarto verdadero, y la defensa pensaba que la oferta que se había entregado pues era razonable y también cumplía con el objetivo de liberarlo.
I therefore set the matter for a plea and was going to discuss all the details with him at our telephone conference yesterday.
Por lo tanto, yo fijé el asunto para una declaración y yo iba a hablar acerca de todos los detalles con él el día de ayer.
And that's it, Your Honor.
Y eso es todo, su señoría.
So you thought he was going to plead? You thought you were going to convince him to plead, Mr. Velar? Is that it?
Y entonces
Yes,
usted creía que él se iba a declarar, usted creía que lo iba a convencer de declararse. Sí, su señoría.
Okay. Mr. Avelar, you know that these time slots are very precious, as I told you in my email. You know that. I'm already behind because 3 Fridays have been vacations, so I'm not very happy. I'm not very happy, sir. You don't represent. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Señora Velar, usted sabe que estos periodos de tiempo son muy valiosos y pues yo ya estoy retrasada, y son 3 viernes que han sido de vacaciones y no estoy muy contenta, la verdad.
And he took up a slot of somebody that could have possibly been released from jail. And that's what makes me angry.
Él tomó un periodo de tiempo de alguien que podría haber sido liberado de la cárcel y eso es lo que me molesta mucho.
Okay, did he blow in this case? He says he's innocent. Did he blow, Mr. Núñez?
Let me check, Judge.
Y él
I believe
sopló
it
en
is.
este caso porque él dice que es inocente, pero sopló, señor Núñez.
Or is there a BAC on this
It was
case?
blood, Your Honor. .10.
Point what?
10.
Okay.
That's right. That's correct, Judge.
Fue por nivel de sangre, su señoría, y era de .10.
Okay.
¿Puedo hablar?
May I speak?
Sí.
No, sir.
No, señor.
I'm not going to waste any more of my precious time with you, sir. Your attorney
No.
already told me everything, sir. You're going to stay in jail.
No, señor, ya no voy a desperdiciar más tiempo con usted. Su abogado ya me mencionó todo. Usted se va a quedar en la cárcel por ahora.
And you're going to stay in jail until we have a trial because your attorney's telling me you're innocent. So we'll have a trial in about 2 years, sir.
Entonces,
Well,
usted se va a quedar en la cárcel hasta que tengamos un juicio, porque su abogado me dice que usted dice que es inocente. Entonces, vamos a tener el juicio como en 2 años.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Avelar?
¿Algo más, señora Velar?
Nothing from the defense.
Anything
Nada
else?
más de la
Mr. Núñez?
defensa.
No, Your Honor.
Very well. Thank you very much. You may be excused.
Thank
Bye,
you,
No hay
Mr.
Judge.
nada más del
Have a
señor
good day.
Martínez. Ya se
Thank
puede
you, Your Honor.
retirar.
And Mr.
Gracias, señora
Avelar,
Velar.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
you don't do this again, sir. You don't do this again. You make sure that your client is going to plead guilty, sir. Before you represent, before you take up a slot, a very precious slot at this point in time, to me. Okay. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
You're excused.
Thank you, Judge. I
Becky,
appreciate it.
we don't need an interpreter anymore, do we, Miss Becky?
No, ma'am, she just needs to get back on the same invite at 10 o'clock
10 o'clock,
for,
Ms.
for the non-custodial, please.
Let's see if we can work something out by then. I'll send you something to, hopefully we can work this kink out. Maybe I need to log in and log out again too. I don't know. I've never
Yes,
had
Judge, I will let Luis know because I'm not sure who's
Yeah.
covering that one, and maybe you'll get a better connection or something, Judge,
Thank you,
so
ma'am.
we can enable it. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you. The next one is Rafael Reyes. Rafael Reyes, please. At this time, court calls cause number 2017-2825. Rafael Reyes, announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. The state is ready.
Rene Vasquez for the defense. We're ready, Your Honor. And Maria Robles, adult probation.
Thank you. Oh my God, Ms. Robles, your hair looks fabulous.
Thank you, Judge. I love your hair too.
It's not as good as yours.
It's pretty long. It took 7 hours.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, Mr. Rafael Reyes, is that you right there, sir?
Yes,
You see and recognize your attorney on the screen, sir?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, Judge.
No, I'm asking Mr.
Sorry.
Reyes if he recognizes Mr. Vasquez.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Mr. Vasquez, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
I do, Judge.
Very well. Okay, Mr. Reyes, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Lower your hand. I need your full name for the record.
Rafael Reyes,
Date of birth.
October 27, 1981,
And where were you born?
El Paso.
You have signed a waiver. By giving up this waiver, you've given up certain rights incident to this proceeding. For example, the right to have a hearing, the right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify on your behalf. You understand you've given up those rights, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you stipulate, I'm looking, I have 1,000 pleas today. Hang on. When did he plead guilty? Can somebody tell me that so I can do it quickly?
Started probation November 30th, 2017, Your Honor.
November 30th?
Yes, ma'am.
You stipulate that on November 30th, 2017, you pled guilty for possession of a controlled substance. You were given 3 years deferred adjudication probation. Do you stipulate to that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you stipulate to the allegations in the motion to adjudicate?
Yes, ma'am.
And to that motion, how do you plead? True or not true?
True, ma'am.
Evidence, please.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to admit the state's motion to revoke as state's exhibit number 1. At this time, furthermore, the state would proffer that if this case did go to a contested revocation, the state would be able to prove all of the allegations contained in the state's motion to adjudicate, Your Honor, not motion to revoke, by a preponderance of the evidence.
Any objection to the evidence summarized by the state, Mr. Vasquez?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection to the admission of states 1 consisting of 4 documents, Mr. Vasquez?
No, Your Honor.
States 1 consisting of 4 documents will be admitted. What is the plea agreement, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, the plea agreement calls for 6 months confinement, state jail.
6 months state jail credit for time served. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, Your Honor, including the misdemeanors, time served as well.
Is that true, Mr. Nunez?
That is correct, Your Honor. There are 2 AFVs, misdemeanors, and then there is 1 assault causing bodily injury. The assault causing bodily injury will be dismissed as soon as he pleads to time served on the AFVs.
So that's, okay, very well. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Reyes?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking me to accept that agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
With that being said, I will accept your plea of true in the plea agreement. Therefore, I hereby revoke your deferred status, find you guilty possession of a controlled substance. I hereby sentence you to serve 6 months in the state jail facility. You will get credit for the time you have served. Mr. Nunez, can you make sure I get all the misdemeanor paperwork? I don't recall seeing a dismissal of a misdemeanor in this case.
I do have it actually drafted, Judge. I have no idea what happened with the misdemeanor paperwork, to be honest. With regard to the AFVs, Mr. Vasquez, did the misdemeanor.
Sorry, Judge, the interpreter's having issues with Mr. Nunez.
Stop.
She's having issues with Mr. Nunez.
Your internet, shocker, Mr. Nunez, is horrible.
Yes, Your Honor. You want me to turn off the video, maybe? That would
Yes.
help?
Yes. Go ahead.
was just-
Repeat everything you just said.
I was just asking Mr. Vasquez if by any chance the misdemeanor ADA had turned over the plea paperwork for the AFVs.
Yes, Judge.
Yeah, he did, and I think I have them, but I don't remember seeing a dismissal on Mr. Vasquez. Can
No.
you make sure there's a dismissal on one of the county misdemeanors?
No, Judge. I think Mr. Nunez is going to give you the dismissal after he pleads, Judge.
I can email that to the court, Your Honor.
That's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, that's what
And I
I'm.
already have it drafted, so I already have it actually here in my.
Okay, great.
If I
Great.
can right now.
Okay, anything else in this case, Mr. Vasquez?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Nunez, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may be excused. Have a great day. Thank you. Good luck to you, Mr. Reyes.
Thank you.
Mr. Vasquez, did you have any more?
No, Judge, that's all.
Thank you, sir. You may be excused.
Thank you, Judge.
The next one is Jesus Atuñez. Is Mr. Parra? Is Mr. Parra on?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
It's Manny Parra. I see Israel. I don't see you, Mr.
Yeah,
Manny.
Mr. Parra's on. He is on, Judge.
Okay, very good. Very good. At this time, for calls numbers 2019-1392 and 2106, the state of Texas versus Jesus Atuñez. Announcement of council, please.
Ivan Martinez for the state.
And Manuel Parra for Mr. Antunes, Your Honor.
Let's see if I see Mr. Atuñez. I don't see Mr. Atuñez yet. Are they getting him?
They already have him on screen. He just needs to talk.
Let me see. Mr. Atuñez, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, sir, can you please, yes, sir, thank you so much. That makes it a little bit easier. Do you see and recognize your attorney, Mr. Manny Parra, on the screen?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Parra, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Let the record reflect that both have recognized each other. Mr. Atuñez, please raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, lower your hand. I need your full name, please.
Jesus Antunes, Jr.
Date of birth, sir.
October 15th, 1966.
Mr. Salazar, where is that feedback coming from?
That's coming from Mr. Parra.
Manny? Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank Mr. Parra, please mute. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we stopped that. Okay, and then just press the space bar when you need to answer me, sir. That's all you have to do. Okay, sir? Press the space bar. You should have come to my Zoom webinar, sir. You missed a great one. I gave that tip to everybody. You press the space bar, it unmutes you, and then you're back muted again. Okay. Where were you born, Mr. Atuñez?
El Paso, Texas.
And you are here represented by Mr. Manny Parra, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Parra, you waive formal arraignment.
We do, Your Honor.
Any reason to believe your client is not competent to enter into this plea here today, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Atuñez, I need to ask you, sir, have you ever been found incompetent by a court of law or by a doctor?
No, ma'am.
I find you are competent to enter into this plea here today. I understand you told me you were born here in El Paso, right? So you are a United States citizen, correct?
Correct.
Should you not be entering into these pleas of guilty, you could face deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, denial of naturalization under federal law. You understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than the plea bargain, you plead guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Did somebody promise you something else other than this plea bargain to plead guilty here today?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody threatening or forcing you to be here?
No.
Did you plead guilty because you want to or because Mr. Parra is forcing you to plead guilty?
Because I wanted to.
And are you satisfied with Mr. Parra's representation in these matters?
Yes, ma'am.
You signed each and every page of States 1 in each and every case, sir. Did you read those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand very important rights you've given up? Right to a trial by jury, right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify in your own behalf. By signing States 1, you've given up those rights, and do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign this document freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, does the state wish to make a motion to reduce your range of punishment or category of offense, Mr. Nunez?
No, Your Honor.
Is there a victim impact statement?
No, Your Honor.
What's the plea agreement, Mr. Martinez?
State is recommending the defendant be sentenced to 2 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutions Division, Your Honor.
Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Parra first?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Atuñez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking me to accept the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand I don't have to accept them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You also understand if I don't, I'll allow you to withdraw your plea. You understand that as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Range of punishment is not less than 180 days, no more than 2 years in a state jail facility and or a $10,000 fine. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Understanding range of punishment, your rights under the law, the plea agreements, how do you plead? Both cases, all counts.
Guilty, Your Honor.
Evidence, please.
Yes, Your Honor. In 2019 0D0 1392, it consists of 4 counts. It's credit card abuse enhanced with 2 prior state jail convictions, which means it's a state jail, but of course the punishment is that of the 3rd-degree felony. In that case, the defendant used a credit card without permission to buy various items. And we would have been able to prove each and every one of the allegations in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt had cause number 2019 0D0 1392 gone to trial. In 2019 0D0 2106, the defendant is charged with theft under 2500 with 2 or more previous theft convictions, which has been enhanced with 2 prior state jail convictions. And again, that's a state jail that is punishable with that of a 3rd-degree felony. Let me just look on that case real fast, Your Honor. On 2106. I apologize, just 1 second here, but what the facts are on 2106. Had 2106 gone to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt each and every one of the elements as alleged in the indictment. And in that case, the defendant went into the 7-Eleven and took a 3-pack of Budweiser without permission, and he left the store without paying.
Any objection to the evidence summarized by the state, Mr. Parra?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection to the admission of states 1 and 2 in both cases?
No, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 in both cases will be admitted. At this time, I will accept your guilty plea and the plea agreements. I find that your pleas and the agreements have been entered into freely, knowingly, voluntarily. I further find the evidence presented by the state does substantiate findings of guilt. Therefore, I find you guilty in 1392, 4 counts of credit card or debit card abuse. In 2106, I find you guilty of theft under 2500 with 2 or more previous convictions. I hereby sentence you to serve 2 years, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Institutional Division. Both cases, all counts are to run concurrent. You will get credit for the time that you have served. You are not entitled to an appeal because this is a plea bargain case. Mr. Parra, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Martinez?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Antunes, good luck to you. You all may be excused. The next one is Michael Avila. Is Mr. Morales? Yes?
Morning, Your Honor. I'm also here for this Ruben Hernandez, Your Honor, here for Mr. Avila.
Oh, okay. I just saw Ralph. You're right. Okay. He has 2 attorneys?
Well, he has him. He's got several cases, so I'm helping out now.
Are you both appointed on?
No, Your Honor. We're actually retained.
Both of you. Okay. At this time, court calls clause number 2000. Is Mr. Morales there?
Judge, I am.
Good.
And Judge, on this one, you told me to put the P-file case number because you were going to include it on the hearing too.
Where's the P-file case? I don't have it.
It's right underneath. It's right underneath the first case number for Rafael. I put it where it says the hearing.
Got it.
Okay.
Who's representing him on the P-file case?
Oh, I didn't check it.
And the new one, that's me, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. At this time, cause number 2018-5888, 2019-4963, and P-file 2020-067. Announcement of council, please.
Adam Hines on behalf of the state of Texas, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hines.
Ruben Hernandez and Rafael Morales, Your Honor, for Mr. Avila.
Okay, we're waiting for Mr. Avila.
We're here, Your Honor.
Is downtown. Let me see.
We're here, Your Honor.
Good, there I see him. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Mr. Avila, do you see him? Do you see him?
Judge, I'm sorry, but the jail annex, his mic is on still and we're getting their sound.
Yeah. Annex, can you mute, please? Thank you. Okay. Mr. Avila, do you see and recognize both of your attorneys in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. And Mr. Morales, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in the case that you are representing him in?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Ruben Hernandez, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in the cases that you are representing him in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Let the record reflect that everyone has identified everyone. This is a bond hearing. Who's going to handle it, Mr. Hernandez or Mr.?
I'll do it, Your Honor. I'll do it, and I think Mr. Morales can chime in if as he wishes, but I'll handle it, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, so he was picked up recently on a new assault family violence charge. On the victim in the case is the same one that he's also said on. So he's got a bond, a $7,500 bond on the new case. And
When was he arrested? Date.
He was arrested June 18th.
Is that the P file?
Yes, Your Honor.
Got it. Okay.
And the alleged offense happened on June 2nd. And it's the same victim from the case that he has no bond on, where the bond was surrendered.
On the 4963?
Yes, ma'am.
Bond was surrendered in that one?
Yes, ma'am, because of the new arrest.
Okay.
So the victim is the same victim in the case. We've provided a copy to the state in reference to the alleged victim in the first case, which is the one, the same victim in this case. And on that affidavit, she clearly states that she lied to police because she's upset that they have children together and he was going to leave her. And she did not want him to leave her. And I've been speaking to her this whole week. She was going to sign another affidavit because she was upset again because he was going to go back to his girlfriend. And she was upset again. And there's a lot of issues with her. And I have the new girlfriend, Your Honor, available to testify. She's online. But the alleged victim, because she was stalking Mr. Avila and his new girlfriend and making threats, CPS actually removed her children from her. They did an investigation. Unfortunately, she's one of those girlfriends that's just can't let go. And because she can't let go, she knows that Michael has been in trouble and has a history and knows very easily to call the police. And if she calls the police and makes allegation, he's going to get arrested. And so that's where we're at. And unfortunately, he's detained again. But the new girlfriend, or the girlfriend, is the victim in the case where the alleged victim in this case was stalking her and harassing her, and that's why they removed the children. Also, some issues there on CPS was that she tested positive for cocaine and I forget what the other drug is.
Who did?
The alleged victim. And so that's why, because she's been using drugs as well, they removed the children. So she has all types of issues, Your Honor, and unfortunately knows that she calls the police and says that Mr. Avila assaulted her because he was trying to leave. They go in and he's arrested.
Okay. Okay. What is you referred to the new girlfriend, Jessica Lopez, right?
That's correct, Your Honor. Yes.
What is she going to tell?
Well, Judge, she's just got to testify how, if need be, but I can proffer to the court that she was harassing and stalking Mr. Avila and herself. And from what she knows is that the children were removed as well from CPS. And because of that, of stalking and harassment, and also because of the alleged victims of drug use.
Okay. Mr. Morales, do you have anything to say?
No, Judge, I don't have anything to add. Pretty significant information from Mr. Hernandez.
Good. He did a good job.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Hines, Mr. Hines, your response, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Well, there's two sides to every coin, as you know, Your Honor.
This is the kind of business. No. Not only two sides to every coin. There's this story, there's this story, and somewhere therein lies the truth.
Correct. Without trying the new case, Your Honor, real quick, I will say it was a walk-in. However, the complaining witness did have visible injuries. And then the police were also able to corroborate and confirm via their 12-year-old daughter, who also confirmed the assault that took place. Additionally, the complaining witness's vehicle windshield was smashed, and there's visible evidence of that as well. More importantly, Your Honor, I think, I don't know how familiar you are with Mr. Avila's history. Are you familiar with him, or do you want to kind of go through that with you for a second?
I'm familiar with it,
Okay.
but I want you to go through it so that Mr. Avila can hear it.
Okay. So the state has concerns, Your Honor, and actually I'm here covering for Mr. Setliff on the drug case where he purchased and sold drugs. That's a man delivery charge.
This was a sting operation. He came out on the news.
Correct, Your Honor.
100K in a stash house.
That's right.
Okay, I
So-
remember the facts, but I want Mr. Avila to hear it from you.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning as we go through this. His first conviction, he has a bunch of misdemeanor convictions out of 2005, POM convictions, misdemeanors out of 2004. First AFV conviction, Your Honor, it was 2007 as a felony assault, and then a misdemeanor AFV in 2007 as well. He's got a DWI conviction out of 2007, a tampering felony conviction out of 2007. He's got drug possession conviction out of 2007, a DWI that was dismissed where he pled to an accident involving damage to a vehicle, misdemeanor assault 2007, first Mandel charge 2010, possession charges 2010, dismissed AFV 2010, convicted AFV 2010, convicted possession charge 2010, convicted harassment charge 2010, convicted delivery manufacturer charge 2012, convicted Mandel charge 2012. Let's see, that was multiple counts, Your Honor. Convicted lesser charge on a felony controlled substance 2014. And then that brings us up to the sting that you mentioned that was in the news that I'm here on the BPU case. And that was in 2017. And then he picked up an additional buy when he was on bond from that charge in 2017 later on. So we have multiple offense dates on that. Then he picked up a family violence charge in the fall of 2019. I apologize, July of last year. And he bonded out on that, I believe, at the beginning of March. And here we are in June, he's picked up a new family violence charge. So the state has serious concerns about the safety of the community, the safety of this complaining witness. And, there's multiple jail calls from March where he's talking about the process of making money selling drugs and how to do that we can provide to the defense. And Your Honor, if you're interested, we believe there's a threat to the community. I know that the complaining witness actually reached out to our office and our victim advocate's office yesterday, and it was concerned about his release and wanted to know how the bond hearing was going to go as well. So that's where we stand, Your Honor.
And to be clear, she does want to press charges, Your Honor.
That is
she
correct.
says yes. Right, she does.
I spoke to her just yesterday about 4:30, Your Honor, and she was supposed to get on this call. We gave her the invitation for the Zoom, and she did not want to proceed with the charges and was going to tell the court that she lied because she was upset that he's leaving her again. And that it did get a little physical because he was trying to leave the home, and she did not want him to leave.
And the fact of the matter is, Your Honor, he's been habitualized. The state's recommendation is 25 years on the family violence case.
Yeah.
It's the same on the drug charges, Your Honor.
What is speaking loudly and clearly to me, and Mr. Avila, you have to hear this. What is speaking loudly and clearly to me is not okay, she wants to prosecute. No, she doesn't want to prosecute. Oh, she was just a woman scorned, and she's very upset. And oh my God, Ms. Lopez is here to testify that she's on coke and she's lost her children. Did you hear the criminal record this man has? Oh my God! If that doesn't scream in anybody's ear, are you kidding me right now? Mr. Castañeda, what are the bonds set at in all these cases?
Judge, in the 5888, there is no bond. That was the one where the warrant, the KPs was issued. On the 4963, I'm showing 2,500, but that is also showing that it was revoked on June 25th of this year. And for the P file case, I'm showing.
hang on, when it's revoked, I put in a bond amount, don't I?
I don't think the bonding company has sent you anything, but that's what the status of that
It
bond
was
is showing.
security
It
bond.
doesn't show a bond on it, Your Honor.
On the 4963, there is no bond.
4963, there's no bond. On 5888, there's a no bond.
And
Right?
and then correct. And then on the P file, it's 7,500.
Okay. Mr. Avila, this criminal history is probably one of the worst criminal histories that I have ever in my 21 years on the bench heard. Who's that noise coming from, Mr.?
That's coming from Mr. Martinez.
Thank you. Okay. It's the worst I've ever. Mr. Hines, what's the recommendation? What's your recommendation for a bond? What's your recommendation for a bond amount? Can't I just keep it at no bond? They're pending felonies, right?
That's what I
No.
believe, Your Honor. He's been given bonds and he's committed new felony offenses while given bonds on multiple occasions since this.
Have to give a bond. I can just put no bond. He's going to be tried on these cases. No bond. That's what I can say, right, Mr. Hines?
I believe so, ma'am.
Well, Judge, I think he's entitled under the law to a reasonable bond. I don't think he's allowed to be held without a bond. He's not on probation. It's not a straight probation case. So I believe under the law, he's entitled to a reasonable bond. Obviously, that's at the court's discretion. That's what a reasonable bond is.
Well, Mr. Hernandez may be right, Mr. Hines. I think constitutionally, he's entitled to a bond. Right?
Well, I think he's entitled to a bond on the P file. However, I think you're entitled to no bond him on the ones where he's failed to conform at this point. And Mr. Martinez can help me on that if I'm wrong.
I think that an appropriate bond for each case is $100,000.
100?
On each
Yes, sir.
cause.
Right. For each case, of course.
Again, Your Honor, I think a reasonable bond. I don't think 100,000 each is a reasonable bond.
He had $100,000 on him.
Well, that's the allegation, Your Honor. He did not have $100,000 on him. I can tell you, he didn't have $100,000 on him.
It was his house. It was in a house that he was controlling possession of.
Well, again, the facts of the case that we have on this has nothing to do with the house. It was under investigation, and what they found, what the deal was with them was not. It was very small amounts. They were state jail.
I have to see his financial capability. It does have a lot to do with it. I've got the right to look at his financial capabilities when I'm imposing a bond. And
Right, Your Honor.
There's $100,000 stash house that was connected to this man some way, somehow.
Right, Your Honor. I mean, they're saying it's connected to him, and the cases but that's in the news, Your Honor. What we have in our cases that's before the court, there's nothing that's alleging that he had anything to do with $100,000.
That's your position, absolutely, Mr. Hines. How did this house with 100,000 K? How was it connected to Mr. Avila allegedly?
It's his. As I understand the facts of the case, as I read through it, it's where they operated out of, and it was the target of a DPS long-term investigation.
Right, and they'd been surveilling that house.
Correct, Your Honor.
They had seen Mr. Avila in and out and in and out.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, he's gonna be on a It's going to be put on a $500,000 bond on 5888 on 4963, a $500,000 bond. And we're gonna go ahead and keep 7,500 on the P file. Anything else, Mr. Hernandez or Mr. Morales?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing else from the,
Thank you. Thank you all. You may be excused. Have a great day. Mr. Avila, your criminal history is just atrocious, sir. And you have nobody to blame but yourself. Nobody to blame but yourself, sir. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What we can do, we'll expedite this thing and put it on a trial track that'll be expedited if you guys can get ready and if we can get in a courtroom. Mr. Avila will have his day in court. Okay, that's what I can do for you. If he doesn't make this bond, I mean, he very well could make this bond.
Well, Judge, I don't think he's gonna make a $1 million bond.
Okay, sir.
In essence, he doesn't have those resources.
Well, it's 50K. So it's only
It's
100,000.
50,000. It's 50,000 in each.
That's right.
So
So it's 100K.
That'd be 100,000.
It's not a $1 million bond. It's 100,000 that he would have to come up with.
Well, it's $1 million bond. He comes up with 10%, and then he's got to come up with the collateral for the other 900,000, which he won't have, obviously.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, you all may be excused. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you,
both.
ma'am.
Thank you. Yes. The next one is Escandon. Mr. Parra, at this time, court calls cause number 2019-1561 and 2020-0309. Jason Dillon Escandon. Counsel, please.
Evan Martinez to the state.
We're getting feedback from you, Mr. Martinez, I think.
Let me pause. Let me mute my.
Yeah, there you go. It is you. Okay. Mr. Escandon, good morning, sir.
Morning to you, Your Majesty.
Good morning, sir. Your Majesty.
That
That was the funniest thing I've heard in my whole entire history. I'll take it. I'll take it. I like that. Mr. Martinez, can you learn from Mr. Escandon, Your Majesty? Will you learn, Mr. Martinez, please? Okay. Mr. Escandon, do you see and recognize your attorney, Mr. Parra, on the screen, sir?
Oh, yes, I do, ma'am. Okay.
Good, okay. And Mr. Israel Parra, do you see and recognize your client and as the defendant in this case?
I do, Your Honor.
Very well. Let the record reflect that both have recognized each other. Okay, this is a bond hearing, so you may go ahead and you may proceed, Mr. Parra.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Escandon is a U.S. citizen, born and raised here in the United States. He is 39 years old, Judge. Well, he'll be 39 in about a month. I know that he's got a little bit of a criminal history, Judge. I know that both cases in this situation where he's arrested is that they're both state jail felonies, and I think that the government enhanced them to, I believe, maybe a 3rd degree. However, I do need to do a little bit of research, Judge, because it may be something that we may be able to do a bench trial on this. However, I do need to do a little bit of research because I understand that maybe he cannot be enhanced unless he's got state jail felonies. But I do need to do a little bit of research on that, Judge. But anyway, regardless, with that, he cannot make the bond at this point in time, Judge. So we're asking for a low bond as the court may go.
What is his bond amount right now? Mr. Castañeda, what's his bond amount? Do you know right offhand?
I do, Judge.
What is it?
On the 1561, it's 15,000 cash assurity. On the 0309, it's 7,500 cash assurity.
Okay. He's been in jail since when, Mr. Castañeda?
Let me take a look, Judge.
Do you know, Mr. Parra?
No, Judge. I know he's been in jail for several months.
Mr. Escandon, how long have you been in jail?
I have 5 months now, and I have 4 months prior, ma'am.
Okay.
Honor.
Judge, I'm looking at 177 days.
177 days. Does that sound about right, Mr. Escandona? 177 days?
That could be correct, Your Honor. I haven't done the correct calculations myself, but that could be correct.
Okay, was it Mr. Martinez or Mr. Nunez handling this bond hearing? I forgot. Mr. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, in the 1561, that case is a third-degree felony. That one is just the charge itself is that of a third-degree felony.
Okay, it's not an enhanced to a third degree. Okay, go ahead.
No. But there is an enhancement in the indictment with a previous prison trip. He went to prison for 5 years to TDC.
For what?
One of them was DWI third. Let me see here.
How come we're getting feedback from you, Mr.?
I apologize, Your Honor. I don't know what's occurring. Can you hear me clearly though?
I can hear you clearly, but that sounds a little annoying.
Okay, it may be my laptop may be a little bit loud, and I apologize. I have my earbuds in, so there shouldn't be too much reverb occurring.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay. We have to deal with technical issues. All of us. Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. So the allegation is that he intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly, in a cruel manner, caused the death of a dog by exposing that dog to a fire. That is the cruelty to the animal case. And in that case, like I said, we're reckoning 5 years. He also has a case of UUMV pending. Let me see on that one. Let me just check on that one to see if that one hasn't been enhanced.
He allegedly exposed a dog to a fire. He started a fire?
Let me see here, Your Honor.
And let the dog walk into it, or what's the allegation?
Yeah, I apologize, Your Honor. Let me see here. There was a fire, and they observed a dead dog located near a couch that had been severely burned. There was various spots in the garage of piles of clothes. And the defendant's girlfriend stated that the dog had, apparently the dog's name was Versace, and he hated Versace. So there was a fire, and the allegation is that he purposely, or at least intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly injured the dog with the fire, Your Honor.
How are you going to prove the intent if he was burning his cell phone? Does the girlfriend say he threw him in the fire? Or?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, Your Honor. It doesn't have to be intentional or knowingly. It can be reckless as well.
Okay.
You know, so that also rises to the level of a third degree. It's not negligence, but just
not intentional, not negligent. It could be reckless. Okay.
Right, and and if the evidence is there for that, at least according to the police report.
Right.
And so as far as the UUMV, let me look on that one real fast. And I apologize.
Who's the complaining witness in the UUMV?
I'm looking at that now, Your Honor. Okay. That case is a state jail felony. Let me see if we've enhanced it, or if we've attempted to enhance it.
Mr. Artemio, you're on the line?
No. That one has not been enhanced.
Which
that one is just a UUMV. There are no previous state jail trips as far as we can tell, so that one has not been enhanced, just the UUMV.
Okay. Mr. Artemio, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the virtual plea processing center is wanting to come in. Should I let them in, even though it's early?
Yes, Judge. I mean, that's fine.
Would that be beneficial? That'd be okay?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna let them in. I just let everybody know, Mr. Rick, letting you know.
Okay, Judge.
Maybe they just want to observe or something. Okay. Okay, so who's the complaining witness in the UUM?
Sorry, Your Honor, my computer is a little bit slow this morning. Maybe that's why it's the humming.
Maybe. Sir, where would you, Mr. Escandon, where would you be living if I let you out?
619 White Cliffs. I'll be living at 619 White Cliffs, but I was getting evicted from my apartment. So when I get out, I'm either going to be staying at the 619 White Cliffs or with my parents getting me a new apartment, which would be at the one that's across the street from the movie theaters that just closed down. Supposedly, I read an article in it with the American Burger underneath it.
I don't know where you're talking about, sir.
It's on Mesa. It's across the street from underneath the apartments. There's a burger place. I already have a place set up for me and everything like that there.
Oh my God, your parents can afford Montecillo?
The one with the rest of the burger place on Thursdays. Yes, man. It's a studio. It's just a studio. I'm gonna be attending school. The reason why I'm asking for this is because they want $20,000 in collateral, and my mom can't afford that. So she was asking to see if no bondsman is willing to help me out. The bond was initially $5,000.
Are you gonna go, okay, this girlfriend that made a statement, yeah, this girlfriend that made a statement, are you gonna be living with her?
No, ma'am, not whatsoever. No.
How do I know that? How can you ensure me that?
Well, first off, I don't want to discuss the case on that. I know, I'm sorry about that, but supposedly she's in California in rehab or something like that. I don't know, but I want nothing to do with her. There's actually a restraining order on us that the magistrate judge actually placed on us for her and I not to have any contact whatsoever. So
Has she put you in the jail while you've been in jail?
She's wrote me in jail saying that she's in rehab in Santa Ana, and she referred to her saying that she wants me to she would like to help, and that I just lost a girlfriend of mine. She just passed away, Shelly Watson, and she referred to her with the dog. She said, well, I know you're grieving right now. I'm sorry about your grieving. He's like, but I'm also dealing with Versace. So I hope I know you can't grieve right now about Shelly Watson. And she just said just to go on, but that letter I left in my previous tank, which was in a Bible.
She's not called you.
No, ma'am.
Mr. Rick, I'm letting in K88. Can you follow them?
Yes, I'll keep an eye out.
K88. Okay, Mr. Martinez, did you find out the information on it?
He was riding a motorcycle, and the story about how he acquired the motorcycle did not check out, and they contacted the owner of the motorcycle, and they said that they had not given the defendant to be riding the motorcycle.
Okay, is this a random person that allegedly is, or is it?
It doesn't look like they know the defendant. That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so it's just a random person. Okay.
Can I speak on that behalf?
No, probably not. You have a very good attorney. You don't want to talk about the facts. You yourself said, I can't talk about the facts. No.
It's just because the reason why I'm just saying that, because of the cases that are going on right now, the things that I can do for the case, I can't do inside incarceration. And my mom understands that. But the $20,000 on that have that, she tried to have her Porsche and her Honda Fit as collateral, but it doesn't equal up to the 20,000. So I'm stuck in a
See, this is the question I have, Mr. Parra. Right?
I'm sorry. Yes, Judge.
This is a question I have, Mr. Parra. His bonds are set at 15,000, one, 7,500 the other. He's talking about his mother renting him a place in Montecillo. In spite of the fact that a studio, Montecillo there is at least $1,500 in Montecillo. Number two, he just referred to a Porsche.
No, it's paid for already. It's just one of those old Porsches from 2000, like a 2000 Porsche, a Boxer, and the Honda Fit. It's like $5,000. They wouldn't give it for the 20,000 collateral. They're refusing unless it's paid for in cash. The only reason why I'm telling you is I'm trying to be honest with you, Your Honor.
Okay, I know you are. I know you are. Thank you, sir. What do you have on your neck? What tattoo is that on your neck?
Do I end if I take my mask off, ma'am?
It's up to you, sir. You have to feel safe. I don't mind if you take it off, but it's up to you. If you don't feel safe, don't take it off. What is that?
It's like a Thrasher magazine. You know how the Thrasher magazine, it says Thrasher. I'm a skater. I used to skate and surf when I was a kid. My first skateboard was Bar Peralta. I had also had a GT Robinson and GT Performer. My plan was, is I got this because when I go to school, it was a promise to myself that I would have to go to school because there was nothing else that I could do but earn an education. I can't get a job like this at Walmart or like a Circle K. I plan to get in a refrigeration in my associate's degree.
Okay, sir. Okay. Mr. Martinez,
Senator,
any?
you had asked about how we're going to determine, this wasn't an accident, right? About the fire.
Right.
The fire marshal was able to determine there was 4 spots where the fire possibly could have hot spots that seemed to where the fire was set. Not just one, consistent with an accident, but 4 potential spots where piles of clothes and things looked like they had been placed there. So anyway, that's just some evidence, going towards that this was not an accident involving the dog, Your Honor. And of course, I know what she's saying about the woman who said that he always hated Versace, and she said that he may have done this on purpose, but that's what she's saying, that apparently he had gone out on a walk with his own dog, but left Versace at home when this fire started.
Like I indicated, Judge, this may be something that we may be able to do a bench trial on. I don't know how the district attorney's office feels about it. Obviously, as you clearly pointed out, Judge, this might be a very vague statute. And certainly, my client would be entitled to appeal it to get some sort of clarification from the higher courts. But anyway.
What kind of bond are you asking for, Mr. Parra?
Well, as Mr. Escandon indicated, his mother's having a hard time. I was hoping that you would do a straight up PR bond on the UUNV, which is at $7,500, and maybe do a $10,000 on the cruelty to animals.
Mr. Martinez, what are you thinking is a reasonable bond amount?
Like I said before, Your Honor, this defendant has been to prison. He has a criminal history. Our recommendation in this case is not probation. It is prison. 5 years TDC on the cruelty to animals and 2 years in the state jail on the UUMV. I think in light of his criminal history and the very cruel nature of what he's alleged to have done, I think that the rec for the cruelty to animals is fair. I mean the bond is fair. If you're inclined to lower the bond on the UUMV, well, that's obviously reasonable minds will differ. But I do think that the bond for the cruelty to animals is correct as it is, Rhonda.
You went to prison for what?
Okay.
Maybe it's criminal.
DWI third
Mm-hmm.
and assault. It's a 3rd degree assault, family violence. Let me see here. It was 5 years for the DWI third, and then for the assault, he was on probation and that was revoked, and he was sentenced to so it's an assault enhanced. So it's assault family violence enhanced with the previous assault. And let me see here. In September of 2013, he was revoked to 2 years in TDC, Your Honor.
Mr. Escandon, this is just a yes or no, sir?
Yes,
Question. Do you have a good relationship with your mother or not?
Yes, I do. I do have a good relationship with my mother.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever lived with her? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is she willing to take you back right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Who else lives with your mother?
My father.
Oh. And your father you have a good relationship with your father too?
Yes.
Judge, before you go on, we need to clarify something. I think that his parents are not here in Texas. I think they're in California.
Oh,
So that you understand, I don't want that, you know.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I assumed they were in El Paso, Mr. Okay.
Well, it's because I don't want to leave El Paso. I'm going to be going to school here. And I
Right.
spoke with my mother. That's why she came down here and had everything organized for me. I
The
don't
first,
plan on leaving.
the first address, hang on, sir. The first address you gave me, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
is that available to you right now, and who lives there?
No, ma'am. That was my previous address. She was either going to get me either of one bedroom there, or but she already had got qualified for the application for the what is it, the studio at that apartment. But they didn't want, she got me a vehicle, she got me a place, but they didn't want to they needed $20,000 collateral. So she said, son, you need to help me. So she's been calling my lawyer to try to get me a hearing so that I can get a bond reduction.
Okay, Mr. Parra, I'm not going to allow him out homeless, right? So once I set up, right, then I'm hoping that mom can come through with a place and all of that, and then if he can make the bond, and then we'll make sure he has a place to reside. I guess what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give him a total PR bond in the unauthorized use. That will be a total PR bond. Hopefully, then I'm gonna, the 15K is gonna be reduced down to 13. Total PR bond. Hopefully the mother can do that, can swing that, is what I'm hearing. All right, that gives them a little bit of relief, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
3 grand or 4 grand, but he's not going to be released. Mr. Castañeda, you're going to put these terms and conditions, but he's not going to be released unless he gives me an address that he can go to immediately. So now the mom knows if she can afford these bonds, then she needs to make a commitment to find him a little place to live.
Judge, and were you gonna let him know the specifics as far as reporting? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, just to clarify, you said you were going to lower the bond on the cruelty to 13? Is that what you said?
13K. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Judge.
13,000. Right.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be 13,000 on the 1561.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it's going to be a total PR on the unauthorized use. I'm going to impose my standard conditions on the PR: no bars, no drugs, no alcohol, no arrest, no offenses against the state of Texas or any other state. You cannot leave El Paso County unless and until you have permission. You're going to give me a specific address. You're going to stay away from girlfriend, whatever her name is. What's her name? No contact with?
Gabriella Warner, ma'am.
Gabriella Warner. You are not to own any dogs. What happened to the dog that you had that you were walking?
Someone stole my dog.
Okay, sir. Okay, you're not to own any dogs at all at this point. No dogs.
Stole my dog and
I'm sorry?
Someone stole my dog and vandalized my truck. I have a $38,000 truck. I don't have a truck, and someone stole my dog. I had a German Shepherd, a beautiful dog. Since I've been incarcerated, I don't have anything. They vandalized everything. I wanted that dog. I asked her to give me the dog. I'm the only one that can care of the dog.
I'm sorry for your loss, sir. I am, but you're not to own a dog. What else? He's going to report 2 times a month. You're going to take UAs 2 times a month with 24 hours notice, sir. That PR bond that I imposed on the 0309, I'm going to impose, they're going to be $5,000. You're gonna impose it on the 1561 as well, okay? So 1561 is gonna be 13K, which is cash or surety, and then it's gonna be a 5,000 PR. On 0309, it's gonna be a total 5,000 PR. Okay?
Curfew, Judge?
Curfew 9 to 6 a.m. Who's the complaining witness in the unauthorized use? The name, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who is it? No contact with the complaining witness and the UUMB. I think I covered everything, Mr. Martinez, right? Any more imposition on the PR bonds?
There's actually two owners of the motorcycle. It's Daniel Schmuck, SHMUCK, and DeJohn Medina, DE John Medina.
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 Thank you, sir. I have to interpret for Mr. Martinez.
Ma'am, can I add something?
Yes, sir.
Since I've been incarcerated, I don't know if this helps, but since I've been incarcerated, I actually met the person that sold that car to the individual that was my roommate at that time.
Not even talked about that. You can talk to your attorney. You can talk to your attorney about that, okay? That's talking about the case, sir. You really can't. Okay. Mr. Parra, anything else, sir?
Nothing else, Your Honor. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir. What we're
Judge,
gonna do,
I'm sorry.
what we're gonna do, Mr. Parra, we're gonna email each other, okay? From here on out, Mr. Parra, okay? You're gonna
Yes.
tell me where they're gonna live. She's gotten the commitment. Yes, she can make this bond, and so I can coordinate with my clerk so I can sign the bond that I just imposed. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Mr. Castañeda, did you want to say anything else?
You answered my question, Judge.
Okay, very good. Thank you all. You may be excused. Good luck to you, Mr. Escandon. I want you to behave when and if you get out, sir. Please behave. I'll put you back in jail in 2
Yes,
seconds.
ma'am, I understand that.
What I'm asking you to do, sir, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. You may be excused. Christopher Hernandez is the next one. That's Mr. Robledo, court cause number 2019-1809. And, oh, it's the same case. Christopher Hernandez. Mr. Bruce, you're here too, right, for this one?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
I'm sorry, Mr. Robledo?
I say good morning, Judge. How are you?
Morning, I'm wonderful, sir. How are you?
The missus says hi.
Oh, you give her a hug, a virtual hug from me, please.
Okay, well.
We can't give hugs anymore. It's gotta
No more. Not for a while.
It's gotta be a virtual hug right now. Where's Mr. Christopher Hernandez? Do I see him?
He is, they had him on the screen right now, downtown detention facility, but they're on mute.
You're
Okay.
here, Your Honor.
There you go. There, I see him. Very good. Oh my gosh, exit full screen. Okay. Announcement of council. Did everybody announce?
No,
Was I
Your
told- No, announce please.
Ivan Martinez for the state.
Your Honor, Daniel Bell represents my client, Christopher Hernandez. We're ready here for our bond, Judge.
And Mr. Hernandez, do you see and recognize your attorney on the screen, sir?
Yes.
And Mr. Robledo, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Very well. This is a bond hearing. You may proceed, Mr. Robledo.
Judge, my client is on probation in your court, deferred probation for an evading arrest motor vehicle. He picked up, when I'm looking in the system, he picked up 3 additional charges, a state jail felony and 2 misdemeanors. And you have a no bond in your probation case, and we're asking for a reasonable bond on this, Judge.
Okay.
Based on what I'm looking at in the county computer, these are all the charges that he has. He doesn't have priors other than what I had indicated to the court. He had a possession of controlled substance along with the evading arrest, but that was dismissed and he pled to the evading arrest. with a motor vehicle in your court. And then the other three charges are pending. That's my understanding. Is that correct, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, it looks like he's picked up UUMV. No, I'm sorry. Unauthorized, unlawful carrying of a weapon. I apologize. Unlawful carrying of a weapon, and a drug case, and a failure to ID.
Yeah, 2 misdemeanors and the drug case. But he doesn't have anything additional priors. Is that correct?
Right. No, I'm not seeing anything here in El Paso, just other than what he is on probation for.
Judge,
Yeah, so he's on probation, and then he's alleged to have picked up all these new offenses. Correct.
Judge, these are nonviolent crimes, and we're asking the court a bond, a $5,000 bond on this probation case, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Bruce, talk to me about his probation history.
Well, the reason he also got arrested, picked up on the bench warrant, and that bench warrant was issued because he failed to appear for an admonishment hearing that we were supposed to have in March 12th. So we were present. He didn't show up. He called the court saying he was sick, and you asked me to have him go UA to find out because, first of all, we were there for drug use because he had 2 cases of prior drug use while on probation. So that's why we had called the admonishment hearing. And at the hearing, like I say, he called in sick, but you wanted him to go to UA to verify if he was actually sick or if it was because he was on the drugs. So he didn't go at the time you said because he wanted him done before the end of the docket, which was noon. He didn't go. He ended up going at 5:15 later that same day, which he did test positive for meth. So then after that, we issued the bench warrant because he didn't appear and the positive UA. After that, he failed to report to me for April and May, and now he got picked up for the new charges.
Well, Judge, for the April and May, was he supposed to report in person or was he supposed to call in?
He's supposed to call in.
Okay. Thank you. I
And just to be clear, Your Honor, what this new case is, apparently there was like a report of shots fired, and this occurred at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so apparently this vehicle matched the vehicle that was involved, and they pulled it over. They were able to establish that he did have a warrant for his arrest, and he had pills, MDMA, a 9mm handgun, methamphetamine. Like I said, so just a number of things occurring there. And apparently he gave a false name to the officers when they asked him.
Judge, with all due respect to Mr. Martinez's assessment, I don't have the report. I don't have the report in front of me. I don't have his assessment. I just want to ask one question to Mr. Martinez. Was there multiple defendants there, or was he by himself?
Let's see here. So they're dispatched shots fired.
What are the bonds set at, or is it a no bond?
I'm not seeing other defendants. Let me.
Is it what
No,
are
the only offender listed is Christopher Hernandez.
Okay, Judge.
And to interpret Mr. Martinez, it was Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Robledo.
Judge, you have a no bond, and we're asking for a bond on that. Judge, the other 2 cases are in CC2, and I had filed my motion to recuse, and they haven't assigned a court yet. So I filed all the paperwork last week. I still haven't gotten an assignment on the court. So that's why I don't know what the facts of the case are. That's why I needed to ask some questions with Mr. Martinez.
Right. Okay. A reasonable bond. What do you think, Mr.? He's a
There's a
favorite.
number of potential violations occurring here.
Yeah.
Judge, I don't think you're gonna have a problem with Mr. Hernandez. His family members are the ones that retained me. I think they're gonna keep in close scrutiny with him. I don't think there's gonna be an issue. It's not a violent case. These aren't violent cases, and we're asking for a reasonable bond, Judge.
Well, Judge, he did have a handgun. I mean, that's
Well,
sort of
doesn't-
violent.
Mr. Martinez, that doesn't mean anything. We don't even know who had the gun or whether or not the gun was in the vehicle. We don't know any of those
No,
issues.
it was in the vehicle. It was in the glove compartment along with drugs.
Okay, we need to know whether or not there was other individuals there, Judge, also. So I don't want to argue with the state judge because I don't know. I'm lost. I'm lost here, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Martinez, what do you think is a reasonable bond then?
Well, I mean, I guess it just depends on, how the probation department, wishes, to proceed on this.
Mr. Bruce, are you gonna seek revocation or you're gonna try to work with this gentleman?
No, Your Honor, our recommendation was gonna be that he be placed in the BHRTC, but the thing is, right now, I don't think they're accepting new cases, new people due to the whole pandemic. But initially, our recommendation was yes to have him in some kind of center.
I kind of agree with that too, Mr. Bruce. I want to try to help him. I don't know if he wants the help, if he wants to.
I agree with you too. I think if there's an issue out there that it needs to be addressed. I appreciate the probation department's recommendation that they don't want to lock him up. That's good. People do need help considering the fact that we're looking at the COVID issue. I just don't want my guy to be in there and hopefully don't get contracted with the COVID if it's possible to get him released. These aren't violent crimes, Judge.
Judge, no one ever said they were violent crimes, but they are alleged to be crimes.
Well, that's your opinion, Counselor. With all due respect.
No, it's not an opinion. That there was probable cause to arrest. It's not an opinion.
It's an allegation. They're allegations, Mr. Martinez. We can.
Yes, I understand that. He has not been convicted. I get it.
Exactly. It's allegation. The presumption is always there. Right, Mr. Martinez? Thank you.
Judge, the fact of the matter is he's alleged to have been out after curfew in possession of drugs and possession of a handgun.
Well, what speaks loudly and clear to me, of course, is the gun.
Yes.
The second thing is his failure to appear, his playing games with the court. He said he was sick. He doesn't go do UAs. He has positives for meth.
Yeah.
Mr. Bruce, you said we had taken him in or we had scheduled a admonishment hearing that he didn't show up for because of 2 dirty UAs. What were those dirty for?
They were dirty for meth.
Meth as well. Okay, we have a meth user here. Meth users don't really, they're not very logical. They're not very logical. They're not very, well, they're rational. And my fear is he's gonna run. And he has 2 months where he didn't report.
Judge, I don't think he's gonna run. I don't think he's gonna run. Not with 2 misdemeanor charges and a state jail felony case. The recommendation is help. I think that's what's gonna. I think that's gonna help him out. The families are concerned. They are here to help him out as well. He'll come to my office and I'll keep a tight noose on him, Judge. So I don't think it's gonna.
He's on deferred or is he on straight, Mr.?
He's on deferred, Judge.
Deferred, so he's entitled. He's entitled.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor, just to be, if I may, just to be clear, what the recommendation I have for the center, it was also like a 60-day jail commitment because prior to entry into the center, they need a period of him, being sober, trying to refrain from any kind of drinking. So there is a jail.
I've done that to a couple of my clients, Judge. They have to go and get in there before. So I understand what the recommendation is.
Right. Mr. Who is he living with at the time of his arrest? Mr. Robledo?
I need to ask him that, Judge.
Hernandez, who were you living with when you were arrested this last time and put in jail?
I was living alone,
Alone. What was your address?
1318 El Paso Street.
Okay, what happened to that apartment? Do you still have that apartment?
No, I don't. It had a problem with the sewage and the water lines, and it was flooding real bad. So I had to evacuate and get out of there. So,
okay.
Yeah, my next address was going to be at my mother's and my grandmother's.
Mother and grandmother.
Mother or grandmother, they live separate, so it was going to be at one of their homes.
Have you talked to them and see if they want you back in?
Yes, absolutely.
You've talked to them?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes, Judge, and the mother's the one that hired me concerning retaining me on this case, Judge.
Right. Okay. I think he can afford a $10,000 bond. He can afford $1,000.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that, Judge. It's going to be a $10,000 bond.
But, Mr. Bruce, I'm not going to let him out until Mr. Bruce gets verification from mom or grandma that he can live there and the address, and let me know.
Okay. Can I get Mr. Bruce? Can you give me your email so I can email you confirmation that he's going to be where he's going to be staying at?
Yes, sir. It's dbruce@epcounty.com.
And can you give me a number?
You can call me at 915-751-7761, extension 238.
7761?
7761, extension 238.
Okay, he's gonna have a 10,000 surety, 5,000 PR. My standard, no bars, no drugs, no alcohol, no arrest, no offenses against the state of Texas or any other state. He cannot leave El Paso County unless and until he has my permission. He's gonna have a 9 to 6 a.m. curfew. He's gonna report twice monthly to the PR bond officer. How much does he report to you, Mr. Bruce?
You're supposed to report once a month.
Okay, so he'll report 2 times to his PR bond officer. He's gonna get UA'd 2 times monthly with 24 hours notice. I'm telling you, Mr. Hernandez, one more positive, one more misstep, you're going back in jail until everything is settled, sir.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that, and we don't have to worry about that.
I hope you do, and I hope you understand I'm not gonna put up with any more games, any more BS, any more anything from you.
It's clear. I do understand that.
Oh, I hope so. Let's see. Let's see. Actions speak much louder than words. 10,000, 5,000 PR. You're going to work closely with the PR bond officer and supervise this gentleman very strictly, Mr. Bruce. Okay, so you have help now. You're going to have to report to 2 officers. It's going to be tough on you, Mr. Hernandez.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm noticing that Mr. Hernandez has a flag with EHN to be notified. EHN needs to be notified prior to release.
Why? What does that mean?
I guess he's receiving services right now, Judge. I don't know if he's already taken medication or if he's already been diagnosed with anything. Would you like to make it part of his bond that he continues with EHN?
Compliant with EHN regimen and protocol. Yes.
What's EHN?
EHN.
Emergency Health Network, sir.
Okay.
Are you on medication right now, Mr. Hernandez?
No, I am not.
You're not. Should you be on medication? Have you taken medication with EHN before?
No, I have not.
Never ever?
No, never ever.
What's going on, Mr. Artemio?
Your Honor, I see a flag here that says he's suicidal.
Canijo. Who made that diagnose?
Not so sure, sir, but it's on in Odyssey as far as the jailing. It's a flag, so it's a concern for us that it's better for him to be continues with EHN assessments and treatments.
Okay. Well, Judge, it's kind of difficult to do some type of treatment that you don't know who's the one that assessed it.
I think we need to look into that before I let him out now. We need to look into that. You're right. I agree with you. I agree, but I mean, that is speaking volumes to me right now. Yeah, no. I'm thinking about his concern and his safety. And if he's not taking any medication right now, EHN needs to assess him right now.
I just need the information as to who or who's the doctor or who's the psychologist that issued out that red flag.
It may not be. Mr. Roberto, what may have happened, he may have made those comments to a jailer, and the jailer has to put everything in the system. He said something to a jailer. Okay, I'm going to continue this case. We're going to reset this case. I'm going to give you an opportunity to look into that. But I really think it's probably best to get him connected with EHN inside the jail. Then I'll release him. He'll get stable on his meds for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then I'll release him, and then EHN can continue.
Okay, when are we going to set this, Judge, for Wednesday? Can we set this for Wednesday?
I can't Wednesdays. It's got to be a Friday because that's the only time I have access to the jail.
Because I have a suppression scheduled for next Friday.
It can't be next Friday. We have to wait to see if he gets EHN. It's going to be in 3 or 4 weeks. He has to contact EHN. EHN has to assess him and then see his meds and then get him med compliant on his meds for 2-3 weeks before we release him. So it'll be at least 3 weeks to 4 weeks before I will see him again.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes, sir.
Can you email me the paperwork that indicates that he has to be on the EMH?
EHN.
EHN?
No, there's no paperwork.
Well, yeah, but I understand, Judge, but that's keeping him in jail for we don't even know whether or not those are even correct statements. We don't know.
This is what I'll if you can look into it and see what the source of that is, if it's bogus, I don't need another hearing. I'll proceed with what I was going to do.
I'll email you. I'll email you whatever they send me.
Right.
Why don't I do that?
Right. Absolutely. We'll look into that. Mr. Artemio, Mr. Bruce, if you can help Mr. Robledo figure out where that suicidal allegation came from.
Yes, ma'am. We'll look into it.
Mr. Bruce.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your observations of Mr. Hernandez, did you think he needed EHN?
Honestly, I mean, I was more focused on the drug use because it is meth and it's constantly been meth.
Right.
I was more focused on him getting help with that. EHN never really popped up.
Okay. So you didn't think, oh my God, he has mental health issues, he needs help. Oh my God, he has okay. So that's a good sign, Mr.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Bruce. Yes. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I'll get that as soon as I get that information.
And you know what he would do too? If he gets let out, he's gonna go to Aliviane outpatient. That's part of the terms and conditions of his PR bond. Aliviane outpatient.
Do they have contact?
No contact.
Okay, so it's gonna be through virtual?
Virtual is my understanding. Okay, thank you all. You all may be excused. We'll continue this by email.
Okay, but the plan, I mean, I understand that there's a bond set for right now, but I mean,
there's no bond. Right now, the bond is on hold.
Right. But I mean, as far as the probation officer's recommendation, it was the BHRTC, was my understanding.
It is. I would do BHRTC too, but with the situation that we don't know when he's going to be in, with the situation of the jail.
So just hold off on the VN for right now, then.
I'm not. Mr. Bruce doesn't want to revoke. I don't want to revoke. Do you want to revoke in this case?
Well, Judge, no. I mean, I always defer to the probation department. You know, if they're willing to work with him.
Got it. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. You all may be excused. Have a great day. The next one is Robinson, 2019 4009 4306 814 and 932.
Ivan Martinez for the state.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joseph Vasquez representing Mr. Robinson.
Where's Mr. Robinson?
They're getting them up on screen, Judge.
Okay.
Hey, Ron, Judge.
Yes, sir. Mr. Robinson, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Judge.
Sir, do you see and recognize your attorney on the screen, Mr. Vasquez? You recognize him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
I do, Your Honor.
Let the record reflect both have recognized each other. This is a bond hearing. It's all yours, Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Your Honor. As Your Honor knows, I recently substituted into this case and I have yet to get portal access to the actual allegations. But my understanding, Judge, is that the court is familiar with this case and the history of Mr. Robinson. It's my understanding that he was already on bond and PR bonds, and then the court revoked the bonds and he was arrested and put in jail. In my conversations with Mr. Robinson, it was my understanding that the incarceration was an attention getter or an attempt to get his attention by the court. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but he has been in jail a significant amount of time. And I don't know the specifics of why his bond was revoked, but we are asking the court to reinstate his PR bonds and to allow him to be released from jail. I have talked to him about the conditions and his obligation to follow any term and conditions the court may set. And if he is released, I'll have him come into my office and make sure that we go over every requirement that the court imposes on him so that he understands them. And obviously, no communication with the complaining witnesses in this case. And I've been present during hearings where the court has discussed the allegations of complaining witness, but I wasn't representing him at the time. But Judge, he has been in jail a long time. I'm confident that he understands what his obligations would be to the court if he were to be released, and we're just asking that the court reinstate the PR bonds that he had previously.
Mr. Nunez, your response.
Yes, Your Honor. David Nunez for the state. Your Honor, if you remember this case? This is a case, yes, we did have him on a PR bond. We had the complaint come in and give him, and we had an admonishment hearing. I believe at that time, the court ended up modifying the PR bond to include no contact with the complaint. It's tremendous in this case. Following that, he did not listen to the court's orders. He continued to contact Ms. Mendez. And I believe last time the court had asked the state to provide what we had in terms of the new case, whether it was just a random text message or whether there was more substance to it. Responded at that time that not only did we receive, we did in our case, the new case, we saw that we had text message, we had a FaceTime call from his, I guess, Facebook iCloud account that the CW recognized, and we also have a recorded voicemail. On top of that, Your Honor, we also provided to the court proof that in January of this year, the CW came to our office, and mind you, Mr. Robinson was represented by Mr. Carmona at this time. That'll come into play and why that's important a little bit later. But we had a pre-trial at our office. I was with our victim's advocate and the complaining witness, and we had sat down for a good period of time. And once that ended, our complaining witness was leaving our office, and at the elevators, Mr. Robinson was there. He had been lurking around, and this obviously frightened Miss Mendez. She went ahead and told our office, one of our investigators, and confronting Mr. Robinson, who I believe stated that he was there going to the public defender's office for whatever reason, even though he's represented by Mr. Carmona. At this time, Judge, with the actions and that Mr. Robinson has expressed while on PR bond, not listening to the court's conditions, I would not recommend any time. I think the bonds are appropriately set, Your Honor. He has also been to prison before on a robbery charge. And that's the state's position right now, Judge.
I want the bonds. What are the bonds set at in each case, Mr. Castañeda?
Okay, Judge, or I'm gonna go down the list. For the cause number ending in 4009, it's 100,000 cash or surety. For the cause number ending in 4306, no bond. For the cause number 4814, 100,000 cash or surety. And for the 2020 case, 5,000 cash or surety.
Mr. Carmona is still representing him, Mr. Vasquez, both of you, or co-counsel?
No, Your Honor, I should have substituted on all cases.
Okay. Okay. So no, Mr. Carmona, yeah. What made me very concerned in this case, and of course very angry, Mr. Vasquez, is the fact that he came up with some lame excuse as to why he was at the elevator when this complaining witness had an appointment with the DA's office. And I really thought, oh my God, he doesn't even respect the courthouse. He doesn't respect, of course, my terms and conditions, and, you know, but, and there he is with some lame excuse as to why he's there at the elevator at the same time. John, can you be put on mute, please? So with that being said, and he has multiple cases violation of a protective order. Yeah. I can, Mr. Vasquez, your client wants to speak to me.
Yes, on February 6th, we had a court hearing.
Hang on. Mr. Vasquez, will you let him speak? You can
Just don't talk about any cases or anything specific. If I don't want you talking about your cases. If you're talking about something that you understand, I'll let you speak, but do not talk about your cases.
Mr. Vasquez, if he starts talking about something you don't want him to talk, interrupt. That's Zoom etiquette. Just interrupt. That's appropriate.
I will, Your Honor. Thank you.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Robinson.
On February 6th, we had a court hearing concerning the me being at the courthouse and running into Ms. Mendez. We are on February 6th. You also had a hearing concerning me contacting her concerning the paternity test. And my punishment for those actions was that you placed me on 3 days work release, which I submitted to the jail February 8th for that weekend because I'm a truck driver and I work in Odessa. So you asked me if I could come back. I came back. You gave me 3 days. So I did the first 2 days. I came back the next week and finished the last day. On my release, they ran a warrant check and they said I had a warrant from previously on February 4th. So what the DA is saying about me contacting Ms. Isabel concerning the paternity test and me running into her at the courthouse because I was scheduling a hearing for the DRO. So I didn't know what floor it was. I thought it was the district attorney's. But on the 6th.
Well, I don't want you talking. I told you not to talk about facts. So
okay. But on the 6th,
he understood his sanction to be that jail commitment, and then he reported in and hasn't been released since.
Yeah, on the 6th day, when I finished, my punishment for those things was for me to you placed me on work release. I completed the work release, but for some reason on February 16th, when they ran my name, a warrant from the hearing on February 6th hadn't been signed for a waiver, and they rearrested me. But I had complied with all the conditions that you had given me for my PR bond, which was report every other week, submit the drug test, and not contact Ms. Isabel.
Yeah, see, the reason he wasn't released, Mr. Vasquez, was because he was arrested on February the 8th for 2 allegations, violation of a protective order within 12 months. The notice of violations were provided to the court on February 18th. So what happened was he was supposed to only serve a certain period of time, but then I get a report that he's been rearrested for 2 more violations of a protective order. So that's when I told DA's office, prove to me that what connection do you have to this defendant that he did it again? And so they provided it to me. So I said, okay, he's not getting out on a bond.
So, Your
So
Honor,
that was sequence of events. And I have to tell you, Mr. Vasquez, I was on Mr. Robinson's side at the very beginning because he was just he's trying just to see his children or his child, I think. And she said, well.
And Your Honor, if I may.
Go ahead.
To elaborate on that, Ms. Mendez is represented by another attorney. When we were in court, we told Mr. Robinson, if you want to discuss anything of that nature, you need to go to the attorney.
Right, I understand. He didn't pay attention to it. Yeah. I know that. I remember that too.
Your Honor, that was February 6th. On March 3rd, we had another hearing with me, you, Carmona, and the DA, and you asked them to provide any evidence for me to have my bonds released, and the only thing they had was the phone calls for the paternity test, which I had already been punished for that. Since February 6th, I hadn't had any contact or anything concerning Miss Mendez.
Okay. That's why you have a good attorney and he's gonna fight those cases. But 100K is a little bit excessive, I think, Mr. Nunez. Can you agree to a lesser amount or you want me to impose a lesser amount?
I just have 2 questions, Judge. If Mr. Vasquez can provide that information from Mr. Livingston, is where would he be working at? And 2, what would his address be where he would be residing at if he did bond out?
Okay, those are good, very good questions. Mr. Vasquez, answer them, please.
Judge, I would have to provide that information. I don't have it right now.
Can I Mr. Robinson?
I know Mr. Robinson, yes, you can ask him.
Mr. Robinson, where would you be living if you got let out of jail?
Same place I've been living for over 35 years, which is 4321 Tularosa.
Is that an apartment or a house?
That's a house.
Do you rent it?
No, we own it. It was passed down from my grandfather.
Who's we own it?
My mom and I.
Okay. Does your mom live there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, she'd be living in Tularosa with your mom. Now you talked about being a trucker. Or did you want to go back to trucking in Odessa or what?
Because I've been in here since February. I had got a position change, so I don't know where my status is. I've been driving for 13 years, so I would still go back to Sandbox, but I don't know if my position changed to Carlsbad or if they would allow me to go OTR and just drive from out of El Paso. But I'm still an employee with Sandbox Logistics.
You're still employed?
Yes,
as
ma'am.
far as you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if I'm not mistaken, did I hear 4321 Tularosa?
That's what I heard too.
Okay, Your Honor, and I think it's very important that I advise the court that there is a protective order in place, a lifetime protective order in place against his daughter for allegations of sexual abuse, and he is prohibited from going to that address, so he can't even live there.
She no longer lives there. She lives in Austin. I had a court hearing with Teresa Caballero, and that's all going for appeal because I missed the court hearing. She no longer lives with me. She lives in Austin, Texas.
Well.
But I also have an address for an apartment that I rent.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a hot mess. Your situation gets worse and worse and worse and worse, sir. If it's a lifetime protective order, I mean, Mr. Vasquez, you have your hands full with this one. Holy moly. Okay. We need to resume this one as well. We need to come back with this one as well. We need to have an address where there's not a lifetime, or you need to clear up that address so he can go back there, Mr. Vasquez.
Yeah, I have an address, Your Honor.
Where?
What is the other address?
8125 Star Street.
What is that?
That's an apartment that I recently put down the deposit before I got arrested.
Do you still have it?
Yes, ma'am.
If you put down a deposit, have you been paying rent the whole time that you've been, after you paid your deposit?
No, because of the coronavirus and because me getting arrested, I still talked to the landlord and he went ahead and decided, because he knows of my work history and he knows that my rental history of having apartments and houses in the previous, he's willing to wait till I get released to go ahead and move forward.
When did you pay that deposit?
I'm gonna say January, the ending of January.
COVID didn't hit until March. So did you pay February rent?
No, I paid the deposit to move in March because I had these court hearings and I said I had to pay Miss Amy Nichols for the attorney for my family law. So I said, let me move. I just got out of jail. So I said, let me accumulate some funds and I'll pay my move in and everything and pay for the dogs on March.
Okay, I'm not believing that story, Mr. Vasquez. You have to prove to me what's happening with that deposit and if he still has availability there. I want to know whether his apartment is still available for him to go, and then I want to know if he has employment. Okay, Mr. Vasquez, we're going to reset this whenever we reset it. Why don't we try to do this by email now so we don't have to wait for a reset for a court hearing, the three of us? Mr. Nunez, Mr. Vasquez, okay?
And Your Honor, what was the address of the new apartment?
8124 Star Street. Is there an apartment number?
8125 Star.
8125 Star. Is there apartment number?
Apartment 1.
Okay. Who's the name of the landlord there, or the person you paid the deposit to?
It's gonna be Renee Sagastume.
Do you have your lease there, your deposit paid?
No, but I do have the contact information.
Okay. Give it to your attorney because your attorney has to call.
I'll go see you today and get the information, and then I'll email the court on Monday.
Anything else, Mr. Vasquez, then?
Not at this time, Judge. I'll get the information to you by Monday.
Thank you.
And to the state.
And you know what I'm thinking of doing, really? If he has a job in Odessa, to protect this complaining witness, I may let him live in Odessa and he'd not to return to El Paso.
That's what I was doing before all this happened. I wasn't in El Paso. I was actually living in Odessa.
You're thinking out loud. Say anything.
Would you be agreeable to something like that? Talk to the complaining witness. You'll feel safer, right? And he's not to be in El Paso. He can find a place in Odessa or Midland or wherever, and he just has to come back for the court hearings. Are you okay with that?
I am not okay with that, and I have even more to tell you, Judge. I mean, I remember there were times when we would have hearings here. He would say he was working at either Sandbox Logistics or Monster Box Logistics. So one of the things I did, I looked up the address that he last listed, which was 3130 Eben, which goes back to an Odessa business. It's actually Monster Box Logistics. And I called on, give me a moment here, Your Honor. February 10th of 2020. I believe the lady's name was Brittany, and she stated that the defendant did previously work there, but was not currently employed there. This is after him making, purporting that he had a job. And that's why I wanted to double check, Judge. I think, in all honesty, Judge, I think he's consistently lied to this court, and we've consistently caught him in lies. So I am adamant, I do not want to revoke, lower any type of bond or anything like that, given his actions.
Okay, sir. I can appreciate that. Okay, Mr. Vasquez, you're going to have to do what we're still doing, right?
Yes, Judge. I'll give you all the information I can get regarding employment and a place to live.
Right.
Your Honor, may I speak? I just got out of jail, and in order for me, I had to do the rehiring process. So in February and January, that's when I was doing the rehiring process to get back to to Monster Box, to go back to work. And then all this happened in February.
Okay, sir. But do you understand what the ADA is saying, what Mr. Nunez is saying? You represented to the court you were employed.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
should have told us you were employed. You should have said, oh, I'm trying to get reinstated. I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. But you represented to this court that you were employed.
Yeah, I'm still in Monster Box is the contract company that I was contracted with. I was still an employee at Sandbox.
I will, Mr. Robinson, I'll get with you and then I'll verify the information for the court.
Clear that issue up too, because Mr. Nunez has an issue with that too, Mr. Vasquez. Anything else, Mr. Vasquez?
No, Your Honor, I'll get the information to you by Monday.
Mr. Nunez, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. Okay, Mr. Robinson, we're still going to continue working. We may have another hearing. We may not. Hopefully we can resolve this by email. Everybody may be excused. Have a good life. It is 9:59. I've got to end this because my time is over with the jail. Thank you.
Your Honor, the downtown facility can still see you.
Okay, Robinson.
Do we have another downtown facility one? Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Cobos Victor?
Great.
That's me, Your Honor.
Good. Let's take care, Mr. Cobos. Public Defender, where are you? Are you still on, Mr. Castañon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. At this time, court calls. Thank you, downtown. At this time, court calls number 2019-3643, Victor Cobos. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor, stage ready.
Felix Castellan for Mr. Cole, ready as well, Your Honor.
Now, this gentleman is back from federal custody, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay, what do we want to do with him now that we have him back, right? Because we couldn't even access him because he was in Fed custody. Do we have a recommendation in this case?
I didn't see one, Your Honor, but
Pulling it up now, Judge.
I think the last time our office saw him was on 6/26 of last year. And so it was another attorney. I don't believe I ever met with Mr. Cobos in court.
Okay. So you don't recognize him? You can't recognize him, Mr. Castañon?
I mean, he looks like the gentleman in the mugshot. It appears he grew his goatee out a little bit more, but he does appear like the gentleman in the mugshot from our file.
And Mr. Cobos, you don't recognize Mr. Castañon because you've never met him, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You want to proceed, Mr. Castañon?
That's fine, Your Honor. Yes, obviously, I do, Your Honor. Yes, please. Judge, I think the judge froze.
Yeah, I think she froze. Hang on for a little bit. She'll get back on.
Okay. You don't see a wreck, do you, David?
I do not.
Okay.
That's fine. We can do. He also has an evading arrest pending out of this state jail case. So our rec would just be.
I've been the judges and on the screen.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
There she is. Oh.
Judge, you're on mute, Judge. You're on mute.
Wait, hang on. Becky, you don't set these. We can do these waiving the appearance and try to work something out and get through it. Miss Becky. Okay.
This one was a prosequendum. I had to set it so that Francine could send it out to see if he was back from.
Set it up on a date. It's not the jail time. Okay. It's not jail access. We can do it with waiving his presence.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Nunez, quickly.
Judge, the state's recommendation is 6 months in the state jail. He has obviously he's been to the prison, so just 6 months. I'm sorry, 6 months in the state jail to run with time served on the misdemeanor evading arrest that he has pending out of the same.
Okay, he served time with the feds. Can it be concurrent with the feds?
All credit for time served, absolutely.
Mr. Castañon, that may not be a bad deal. It's gonna run. I don't know how much time he has with the feds, but I think he has a lot of time.
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll get with Mr. Castaneda and I'll check our own records to see how much actual jail time he has, and then the court always has a discretion of giving him credit if he's, because I don't know if they revoked him because it shows that he posted bonds on these offenses, so I don't know if at some point the state revoked them, but if we can get you that federal time, the court does have the discretion to give him credit
Yeah,
for that.
and Mr. Martinez is saying no objection to the Fed time, so we'll give him the Fed time.
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll meet with him, and then if we could set it for some kind of settlement conference,
Settlement
I'll let Becky and the court know at that point.
3 weeks or 4 weeks, settlement conference?
3 weeks, Your Honor, please.
3 weeks it is, settlement conference. Thank you very much. You all may be excused. Have a great day.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on. Okay, now Miss Interpreter again. Miss,
Yes, Judge.
Let's try this one more time, right?
Yes, Judge.
And Judge, on the first one, it's with the interpreter.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on, Becky. Let me try to get this interpreter first. It's doing the same thing, Miss Garza. So let's just move on.
Yes, Judge.
Because let me try to start because it has. I can't even see. Let me try to start it.
Okay.
Do you
So
have
it's
it?
on. It's on, but I don't have the controls. So it is on. It's available. You just have to designate me as the interpreter for this hearing.
And we're having the same issue that we are having. Let me add you again. Let me try that one more time. Add you. See, I've never seen this not joined. I don't know what that means.
No, I'm not sure either, Judge.
Yeah, see, okay, so let me put you again on interpreter number 2 is what you're gonna do.
No, interpreter number 1. So erase whoever is number 1 and put my email there instead.
That's what I'm doing again. So it's L.Y. Garza, A-R-Z-A @epcounty.com.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Let me see.
Judge, I do have the interpretation on my screen, the little globe. I do have it.
Yeah, everybody has it, but she has to get the controls of it.
Yes, and
you don't still have it. Okay, see?
Not yet,
once I
Judge.
do that, none of the buttons light up for me to do anything. The only thing is end. End. That's all. I can't update. I can't update. See, it's not allowing me to update. It's not allowing me to do anything but end.
I will look into it, Judge, and hopefully
Yes,
it doesn't happen again. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so we're gonna. Okay, Miss Becky. Now what?
The first one, Maria Garcia, they called from Orlando Mondragon's office that then he ended up in a federal Zoom and wanted to see if we could add him at the end of the docket. And I told him, well, everybody said at certain times. I said, I don't know if they can do that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, we'll try our best. Okay, tell him okay. Pedro Aguilar, that's Renato Welch's. Is Renato present? I told you to tell him to be present, Becky.
And I think he was gonna get on at 10:20, Judge.
Okay, can you try and see if he can get on right now?
Okay, Judge.
No.
And just to make sure, Pedro Aguilar needs the interpreter, Judge?
Yes, those are the 2 that need the interpreter. All the rest do not need interpreters.
Okay, Judge.
For the 2, so let's play you and me right now. Let me interpret. Training Center, Virtual Plea Processing Center, are we good?
Hello, Your Honor, Luis Canales, adult probation, we ready?
Yes, hi, Mr. Canales. We're trying to get somebody. The 10 o'clock is late.
Okay.
So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not.
Ms. Garcia is here ready for you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Garcia, Mr. Mondragon is not present. He's held up at a federal Zoom hearing. Start. Let me just try.
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Garza, do you have it now? No?
It's on. It's available, but I don't have the controls for some reason.
Same. Okay, I don't understand. And manage language interpretation.
Judge,
Yes,
excuse me. That Mr. Mondragon, they think he just got off and that he'll be trying to get into Zoom right now.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. Yeah, I don't know what not joined means. And then it doesn't give me the ability because it says interpreter 1, and then that's supposed to be your email address. But it
Yes.
has stars, and then it says not joined.
Yes, because and with the interpreter function, anybody can do it. For example, since at the courthouse it's 3 of us, Gloria, Jesus, and I. Whoever joins, whoever turns it is, you can add that person. So, and we hadn't had any issues before, so
Do
I'm
you
not
see?
sure.
Do you see the share, the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I do.
Okay, look at how it says. It stars up there, it says not joined. I try to put your name. Let me do that, right? Are you watching me?
No, it just says it has a Zoom.
You don't.
Zoom
webpage. You're not seeing my screen.
I see it. I see it now. Yes.
Okay, right. I'm putting your name in there. L.Y. Garza. Are you seeing that?
Not yet.
You're not seeing my shared screen? Becky, are you seeing my shared screen? Becky?
Judge, we can see your screen. However, like when you're trying to type something, it doesn't appear.
It doesn't show. It just says, here's what to do with your meeting recording.
Oh, it's
Connect
not
with
showing
the-
the interpreter part. Okay.
Right.
It's not showing that. Okay. Okay, that's what it's sharing. Okay, it's not.
But when you try to choose the interpreter, it gives you a list, and then it shows, for example, Anita Garza says court reporter,
Right.
and
Right.
you're not able to select my name from that list.
I've tried that too. Let me erase. I know this is really strange. Let me see if you're on. Lynette Garza's on the list. Yes, ma'am, you are. So I put your name in. Now, okay, let's do that. I got it from the Dropbox now. So I don't type it in, I just get it from the Dropbox. Okay. Okay. Now, we were waiting. Nobody can hear you, Ms. Garza. Ms. Garza, nobody can hear you because we're on different stations. I want everybody to be on the English station, please. Everybody go to English. Go to your little globe. Go to English. And then from English, you're going to mute original audio, everybody. Everybody mute original audio. There you go. Okay, I think we're set up now, finally. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Mondragon, are you present, sir?
Yes, yes, Your Honor. Well,
Mr. Mondragon, on your interpretation, can you go to the English station, the little globe on the bottom of your options bar? Go to English.
I think I do have it on. I have it on English, Your Honor.
Okay, then go to mute original translation. You have that?
I'm gonna see if I have it.
Mute original translation. I'm sorry. Unmute. Mute original audio. I'm sorry. Yes, mute original audio. Do that. Okay.
I got it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Okay, virtual processing center, can you put it on Spanish station?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is she on Spanish station, Ms. Garza? Sí. Okay, very good. At this time, we'll call number 2019-491, the state of Texas versus Maria Garcia. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez from the state, Your Honor. State Attorney.
Good morning, Your Honor. Orlando Mondragon on behalf of Ms. Maria Isabel Garcia. Ready?
Ms. Garcia, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. Lower your hand. I need your full name, please.
Maria Isabel Garcia.
Date of birth.
2/13/60.
And where were you born, ma'am?
en Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua.
And you are here represented by Mr. Mondragon, correct?
Sí.
Mr. Mondragon, do you waive formal arraignment?
We waive, Your Honor.
Any reason to believe your client is not competent to enter into this plea, Mr. Mondragon?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Garcia, have you ever been found incompetent by a court of law or by a doctor?
No.
I find you are competent to enter into this plea here today. I understand you were born in Mexico. I assume you are not a United States citizen. Can you mute
No,
while
soy
you're
residente.
shuffling, Mr. Mondragon, because you're causing noise? You are a resident, not being a citizen, entering into this plea of guilty. You could face deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, denial of naturalization under federal law. You understand that?
Sí.
Other than the plea bargain, you plead guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason.
Sí.
Did somebody promise you something else other than this plea bargain to plead guilty here today?
No.
Is anybody threatening or forcing you to be here?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you want to, or Mr. Mondragon is forcing you to plead guilty?
No, porque soy culpable.
And are you satisfied with Mr. Mondragon's representation of you in this matter?
Sí.
You've signed each and every page of States 1. Did you read that document or did Mr. Mondragon explain it to you?
Él me lo explicó todo.
Did he explain to you very important rights you've given up? Right to a trial by jury, right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify in your own behalf. By signing States 1, you've given up those rights, and do you understand that?
Sí.
And did you sign this document freely and voluntarily?
Sí.
At this time, does the state wish to make a motion to reduce the range of punishment or category of offense, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, this case, we have changed the charge with the consent of the defense. It is not the offense is charged with this fraudulent possession of a controlled substance prescription Schedule 3. We've agreed to that these facts comport with a charge of theft over $100, but less than $750. So she's charged with a different offense completely, Your Honor.
Very well. And you agree to
Class
that?
B.
You're okay with that, Mr. Mondragon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. There is no victim impact, Mr. Martinez or Mr. Nunez. What's the plea agreement?
Your Honor, the state is recommending that in exchange for her plea of guilty to the offense of theft, that she be placed on 2 years deferred probation. She pay a fine of $500, payable in equal monthly installments.
$500?
$500, yes, Your Honor, $500.
Is that restitution? Or what
No,
is
no
that?
restitution, Your Honor. No restitution.
Now, what you've done is you created a new offense and it's a Class B misdemeanor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that's that. Okay. So the agreement is 2 years deferred, zero fine, $500.
No. $500 fine. $500 fine.
$500 fine.
20 hours of community service.
Mm-hmm.
UABA,
Mm-hmm.
curfew, and theft counseling.
Very well. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Mondragon?
Sí.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mondragon, you can press your space bar, and if you press your space bar, it will unmute you. So you don't have to be fumbling for the mute button. Okay, so you can just do it quickly and then unmute.
I'm on my iPad, Your Honor. It's not the computer.
Okay, okay. Ms. Garcia, is that your understanding of the plea agreement as well?
Sí.
Are you asking me to accept that agreement?
Sí.
You understand I don't have to accept it, right?
No, yo estoy de acuerdo.
And you also understand that if I don't accept it, I'll allow you to withdraw your plea. Do you understand that as well?
Sí.
You understand your range of punishment is not more than 180 days in the El Paso County Jail and or a $2,000 fine. You understand that range of punishment?
Sí.
Understanding range of punishment, your rights under the law, the plea agreement, ma'am, how do you plead?
Culpable.
Evidence.
Your Honor, had this case gone to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about October 27, 2017, here in El Paso County, Texas, the defendant went into the UMC West Pharmacy and she presented a prescription of her deceased husband's in order to obtain hydrocodone. So thus she used deception in order to obtain this property.
Any objection to the evidence summarized by the state, Mr. Mondragon?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection to the admission of states 1 and 2, sir?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 will be admitted. At this time, I will accept your guilty plea and the plea agreement, ma'am. I find that your plea and the agreement have been entered into freely, knowingly, voluntarily. I further find the evidence presented by the state does substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I am not entering a finding of guilt at this time. Instead, I'm deferring further proceedings. I'm placing you on community supervision for 2 years. Terms and conditions of your probation include a $500 fine, 20 hours of community service, UABA testing 1 time monthly, 10 to 6 a.m. curfew, and theft counseling. I want the record to reflect, Mr. Mondragon, your client's not entitled to an appeal because it's a plea bargain case. Anything else in this case, Mr. Mondragon?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Martinez?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good luck to you, Miss Garcia. I guess.
Gracias.
Thank you. Now, hang on a second. Mr. Artemio, help me with this. They're going to process the plea papers there at the virtual plea processing center. After they fingerprint, are they going to be sent back to Ms. Becky so I can sign them?
Yes, Your Honor. It's going to be uploaded into Teams. Sam's going to get it from there, and they'll be provided to you, Judge, for signature.
Okay, Mr. Sam, you're not going to give it to me through Teams.
Right. I'll send it. I'll send you via email.
Okay, very good. That's what's going to happen with all these plea papers. Okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same track. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Good luck to you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Mondragon. You all may be excused. Thank you. Now, before I deal with Thank you, Mr. Mondragon. Before I deal with Pedro Aguilar, is Derek Caballero at the virtual processing place?
Hello, Your Honor. No,
yet.
Mr. Caballero's not here yet.
Until Derek Caballero's not scheduled to 10:40. He's not there yet, right?
No.
You're Mr. Canales, right?
Yes, this is Luis Canales.
Okay, you're not, you need to be on English station. You see how, oh, this is so frustrating. I hate interpretation channels.
Sorry, Your Honor.
There you go, sir. Okay, Mr. Pedro Aguilar is not there, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, is Mr. Derek Caballero there?
Derek.
Yet? Because he's not scheduled till 10:40. Is he there?
No, he's not here yet, Your Honor.
Okay, okay, sir. Then I can go ahead and talk to Mr. Welsh.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Welsh, you need to be on the English station.
I am on the English station.
There's a globe on the bottom. You see this problem I have with these interpretations? So I hate interpretation channels. You need to get down on the bottom and get on the English station channel.
It says
There's
it's
a globe
on.
at the bottom, Mr. Welch.
Now I'm on English.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. What's happening with Mr. Pedro Aguilar? I'm not very happy, Mr. Welch.
Well, I'm wishing that I could make you happy somehow today, Your Honor, but I won't be able to produce Mr. Aguilar.
Okay.
Maybe there's something else I can do.
Okay. Well, where is Mr. Aguilar?
I've communicated with him about the plea and about the need to come, either provide me with an email address or some way to get him the papers or to come in and get the papers. But then I lost all communication with him. I don't know what happened to him.
Okay. I'm gonna issue
Because-
out a bench, I'm gonna issue out a bench warrant then.
Well, I don't know what else. I don't know what else to do, Your Honor.
Right, no, no, no. If you lose control of him, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna go ahead and issue out a bench warrant for him right now. Is he on a surety, PR? What is he on, Mr. Castañeda?
He's on a PR bond, Judge.
Okay,
Straight PR.
okay, we don't need to put.
If I'm able to find him, and he has some reason, you know, maybe he was, you know, in the hospital or kidnapped or something.
Yeah, either he was abducted by aliens. Either he was abducted by aliens, he got the coronavirus and can't move, or he's passed away. Those are the only three excuses I'll take right now. I'm not going to take any more excuses other than those. But we're going to revoke his PR bond. A bench warrant is going to be issued. Okay, Mr. Welch, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. The only thing is I'm trying to move my docket. This is a very precious spot because I only have 2 hours access to this virtual police center. So, but I understand it's not your fault and you've lost control. So I understand that. It's just a frustrating situation, Mr. Welch. Thank you for coming in and explaining it to me. So at least now I can issue out a bench warrant at least.
Yes, ma'am. And we have a way to resolve this case if we can just find him again.
I know, but it's not going to be, I know, but I'm not going to resolve it in the same way it was resolved. It would have been resolved today. There's got to be some punishment unless he was abducted by aliens or got the coronavirus.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You may be excused. Have a great day.
Yes.
Mr. Rick, call a PR bond and we're going to, and tell him to revoke Pedro Aguilar, please.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, now we're just waiting for, it's 10:25. We're waiting for Derek Caballero. Mr. Artemio.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to set all these, Mr. Canales?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're still waiting for Mr. Caballero, okay?
Yes, just to let the court know, Your Honor, your 11 o'clock, Mitchell, he showed up early. He's in the parking lot. I can call him if you want me to.
Well, you know what the problem is? I don't have McGloshin. I don't have his attorney.
Okay, Your Honor.
See, this is my question, Mr. Canales.
Yes.
And Mr. Artemio. Can't I just set all these for 10 o'clock and they just wait out there until they're called? So
Yes.
we don't have to be doing this and so everybody can be participating.
Yes,
I think that's a more efficient way to do it.
Yeah, we can do that. There's one other court that did it that way and we managed it.
Yes. Do you prefer that, Mr. Canales, or tell me what you think about that? Because look at we're at a standstill completely.
You know, Your Honor, for us, it doesn't make much of a difference.
Okay.
We got
everybody stays out there anyway in their cars. Let them be in their cars.
Yeah. Yeah, some people wait in the car. Once in a while, we get people that walk here. So
Right.
We set up a small lobby. We're only able to put 4 people because of social distancing.
Right.
But to this point, we have not needed more space.
Okay, good.
So-
So, Mr. Canales, you would be okay? Because I don't want to, you know, I want to try to follow the rules, right? Because this is our first time. But Mr. Canales, you wouldn't mind if I set everybody at 10 o'clock and you guys just control everybody there in your lobby and in the parking area, right?
Yeah, we can manage that.
Okay, sir. Okay. Mr. Artemio, are you okay with that?
That's fine with us, Judge.
Okay. Because look we're coming to a screeching halt again. Right? You can goodbye and have a good life, Miss Garza. We finally got it right. We don't need an interpreter anymore, Miss Becky, right? No interpreter.
Right, Judge.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Finally. Thank you. Miss Becky, we're going to set all these at 10 o'clock now, okay? Not 10, 10, 10:40.
Okay. Just the same amount, just all at 10. And then as they come. Yeah.
Yes. No. Just 6. We're not going to
Okay.
overwhelm them. No. We're just going to do
Yeah.
the 6. But it's just going to be all at one time so we don't go to a screeching halt. Come to a screeching halt. Okay, does anybody need to take a break? Go.
And what I'll do, judges, that's good because this way I can schedule them. And then as I call the attorneys right away and find out who's, before I do the docket, I find out who needs the interpreter and I try to put them first.
Right,
And
good.
then we're gonna, but then that's the only thing is we'll just keep the interpreter there because if we call whoever's there, it could be one that needed an interpreter, then the next one doesn't, then the next one. So.
Well, that's okay. At least we're not wasting time.
Right.
of everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the interpreter can wait if we have to skip one because the Spanish speaker's not there.
No, and then this way all the attorneys are on there at the same time and you just, yeah. Okay, Judge.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's the point. If you want to call Mr.
McLaughlin?
Yeah,
Mitchell Jordan, see if he can get on right now.
Get on right now. Right.
Okay.
Mitchell Jordan is there, and then we'll ask Mr. Canales. Mr. Canales, I like your shield. Where did you?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Where did you get it, sir? It's very nice.
I ordered it on Amazon.
Good.
Got
Sir.
myself a dozen of them.
Good, sir. I'm glad you're staying safe over there.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me go ahead and have Mr. Mitchell be on standby.
Thank you, sir. Anybody need to talk to me about anything? What's happening with Miss Whitney, Mr. Artemio? Anything that we know? I don't think I've gotten a...
Yesterday he said that she might get released this afternoon, Judge, so.
Okay.
Just a reminder, we're still on the YouTube, Judge.
Yes, we have to be.
Okay, all right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, I know. Thank you. But no news about Miss Whitney, right?
No news right now,
I'm
Judge.
going to see, okay.
Judge, was the detective able to get a hold of you regarding the search warrant?
I knew you were gonna ask me. I cannot tell a lie. I need to put myself in jail for 30 days if I do tell a lie.
Oh, no.
He called me at about 3 or 3:30. He did. Did you know that?
Right. So apparently he was in training. He was asked to step out of the training in order to present it himself.
And so he did. I thought I was gonna wait a while. I didn't have my phone because I thought she was gonna get familiar, blah, blah, blah. So then he says, I'm out of training at 4. I will call you tomorrow, he said. I called him back at 4:04.
Oh, no.
4, I'm not joking, I will show you, 4:04.
Yes.
He didn't answer. He didn't answer. So I am sorry. If there's any way you can get him right now, he's in training though. I'm gonna try to call him when I get off because I have his number.
But he said he was going to call you today.
Yeah, he did, but I'm not gonna wait.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but that's good. Hey, today's better than Monday.
Yes, I'm gonna text him and say, "Are you available?"
Perfect. Thank you.
Trust me, I'll be diligent today. I am truly sorry. I missed him by about an hour. So I'm
still. We're doing good.
We
this
are.
Beats the heck
we're
out of.
Trying. The thing is we're trying and we're telling the truth. That's what I want. Truth and trying.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's see. I had never met Mr. Adam Hines. I don't think I had ever met him.
Yes. He's been around for a few years, so
Really?
you'll be seeing him, I guess.
Swear to you. Yeah, never, ever.
Where did he say Aaron was at?
I don't know. He didn't say. Where is Aaron?
You
asked, and I was like, "Where is
he?" I thought he said Kansas.
No. He's where?
I thought he said Kansas or something.
Right?
Kansas.
That's pretty cool.
Well, let me tell you, during this coronavirus, if I had a choice to travel, it would not be Kansas. Unless he has a girlfriend there, unless he has family there, unless he has, otherwise, why Kansas, Dorothy? Why Kansas?
Okay, Judge, he's gonna get on right now.
Beautiful.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Beautiful. I think they ran out to get Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, and then Mr. Macias never got on Turner, right? They must have called him from the jail that his client didn't want to show up at the...
No, I don't know.
And Rick told you about the fingerprint?
What?
The fingerprint pad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Becky, remember, we're on YouTube Live. We'll talk
Right.
about, yeah, we'll talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. There's Mr. Mitchell. Is that Mr. Mitchell? Hi, Mr. Mitchell. How are you, sir? Mr. Mitchell, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, and we can hear you. We're waiting. Your attorney is getting on right now, okay, sir?
Okay.
So we're just waiting for your attorney to get on. You look a little bit nervous, Mr. Mitchell. Are you nervous?
Not really.
Okay, good.
Been at work.
The only thing I would be nervous about would be getting the coronavirus.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But you know, people have told me that Judge Angel is worse than the coronavirus. So maybe you should be nervous. Remember, Mr. Artemio? Mr. Darnell said, and I told her that she needs to do what Judge Angel says because she's worse than the coronavirus. But there's no need to be nervous, Mr. Mitchell. Everything is good with you, sir. We're just waiting for your attorney. Are those your dogs, Mr. Martinez?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Were those your dogs?
Gosh, I'm not, is there barking? Oh.
I heard barking. Mr. Martinez, I like that white screen better than the green cobija. Keep it.
Right? It just looks like there's a wall behind me. So I was like, oh, whatever.
Good. I liked it. It looks very stark. Now, the only thing I don't like about virtual backgrounds is your hair is kind of tingling and glistening. It kind of sometimes makes your hairline disappear. And so then you look kind of bald. So.
That's partly the virtual, partly my hair.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I thought maybe it was all your hair. Yeah, let's. Don't forget about early. It's 10:36. Mr. McLaughlin's going to check in at 10:40, which is his time. Becky.
His time was at 11 o'clock, Judge.
11? What happened to Derek Caballero and Robin Norris?
Let me check with them.
I forgot what happened to that one. You're Mr. Mitchell or Mr. Caballero?
Mitchell, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Norris? Unmute. Can you talk to me, Mr. Norris? Mr. Norris, you need to go on the little globe on the bottom and get on the English channel.
English channel.
Globe on the bottom, get on the English channel.
Let's see, English channel.
Globe on the bottom of your options bar.
There we go.
There you go. Okay, Mr. Norris, it is 10:37. You were set up at
10:40.
40.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Your client's not here.
I instructed my client to appear and provided him the information for his appearance at the Professional Development Center on Campbell and confirmed that last night late. So,
Mr. Canales?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is Mr. Derek Caballero there?
No, Your Honor, he hasn't shown up yet.
Okay.
well, he has a couple of minutes, I guess.
No. You don't do these a couple minutes before.
He's generally been a pretty reliable client as far as appearances.
Okay, I'm going to do Mr. McGloshan's plea. Mr. McGloshan just came in. Mr. McGloshan, as you're coming in, there's going to be a globe at the bottom on your options bar. Can you opt for the English channel? Or else we won't be able to hear you. Mr. Mitchell, can you talk to me, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
There you are. Mr. McGloshan, can you talk to me?
How are you, Your Honor? I'm so happy.
Yeah, no, you're not. I can't hear you. You need to get on the English station, English channel, down
Got
at
you.
the bottom where it's the globe. Oh, this is.
Got you.
Got it, sir. Okay, we're ready for Mr. Mitchell. Thank you for showing up a little bit earlier. I appreciate you.
Can you hear me now, Judge?
Yes, sir. We can
Okay,
hear.
good.
At this time, court calls cause number 2019-2585, Jordan Mitchell. Announcement of counsel, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. State is ready.
William McGlash, on behalf of Mr. Mitchell, Your Honor, I'm ready to proceed. And are we sure that's Mr. Nunez and not Wyatt Earp now?
Yeah, he looks like Wyatt Earp now. Everybody loves that stash of yours. Okay, Mr. Mitchell, do you see and recognize your funny attorney, Mr. McGloshan, on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. McGloshan, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
I do, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Mitchell, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Lower your hand, sir. I need your full name, please.
Jordan Chase Mitchell,
Date of birth, sir.
4/23/92,
And where were you born?
Jasper, Alabama.
Where?
Jasper, Alabama.
And you are here represented by Mr. McGloshan, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McGloshan, you waive formal arraignment in this case.
We do, Your Honor.
Any reason to believe your client is not competent to enter into this plea here today, sir?
No such reason, Your Honor.
Mr. Mitchell, I need to ask you, sir, have you ever been found incompetent by a court of law or by a doctor?
No, ma'am.
I find you are competent to enter into this plea here today. I understand you were born in Alabama, so I think you're a United States citizen, right? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Should you not be entering into this plea of guilty, you could face deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, denial of naturalization under federal law. You understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than the plea bargain, you plead guilty because you are guilty, sir, and for no other reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Did somebody promise you something else other than this plea bargain to plead guilty here today?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody threatening or forcing you to be here?
No, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty because you want to, or Mr. McGloshan's forcing you to plead guilty?
Because I want to, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with Mr. McGloshan's representation of you in this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
You've signed each and every page of States 1. Did you read that document, or did Mr. McGloshan explain it to you?
I read it, ma'am.
Did you understand very important rights you've given up? Right to a trial by jury, right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify in your behalf. You understand you've given up all those rights by signing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign this document freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, does the state wish to make a motion to reduce your range of punishment or category of offense, Mr. Nunez?
Yes, Your Honor. The state will be reducing this to a Class A misdemeanor evading arrest.
Class A evading. Is there a victim impact statement?
No, Your Honor.
What's the plea agreement?
Your Honor, the plea agreement calls for 2 years of deferred probation, $50 fine, 100 hours of community service, UABA, as well as a.
As well as a curfew?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. McGloshan?
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mitchell, is that your understanding of the plea agreement as well, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking me to accept that
Yes,
agreement? You understand I don't have to accept it, right?
I understand, ma'am.
And you also understand if I don't, I'll allow you to withdraw your plea. You understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
The range of punishment you're facing is not more than 1 year in the El Paso County Jail and or a $4,000 fine. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Understanding range of punishment, rights under the law, the plea agreement, sir, how do you plead?
Guilty, ma'am.
Evidence, please, Mr. Nunez.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the state would seek to admit as State's Exhibit number 1, the plea papers in this case, and the indictment in this case is State's Exhibit number 2. Furthermore, the state would proffer that if this case did go to trial, the state would be able to prove all of the allegations contained in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. And Your Honor, just a little bit of facts on this case. Officers from the El Paso Police Department received a call for assistance from Fort Bliss. I'm assuming military police. on locating the defendant in this case. And when they do locate him, they both El Paso Police Department and I guess the military police go try and approach the vehicle, and that's when Mr. Mitchell takes off and leads him on a chase, but he ultimately comes to a stop, and they arrest him after that.
Any objections to the evidence as summarized by the state, Mr. McGloshin?
No, Your Honor, and as a matter of fact, he did get out of the car and walked away even after stopping the vehicle. So that's where I think we can easily get into the second portion of the facts, which are evading arrest on foot.
Okay. Any objection to the admission of states 1 and 2, Mr. McGloshin?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 will be admitted. At this time, I will accept your guilty plea and the plea agreement. Sir, I find that your plea and the agreement have been entered into freely, knowingly, voluntarily. I further find the evidence presented by the state does substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I am not entering a finding of guilt at this time. Instead, I'm deferring further proceedings, sir. I'm placing you on community supervision for 2 years. Terms and conditions of your probation include $50 fine, 100 hours community service, regular UABA testing, and a curfew as well. This is deferred, so your client's not entitled to an appeal. It's a plea bargain case, and he's opted for deferred, so he's waived it. You understand that, Mr. McGloshin, correct?
I do, Your Honor.
Very well. Anything else, Mr. McGloshin or Mr. Nunez?
No, Your Honor.
Just one thing, Your Honor. I believe my client, after speaking to him, is going to be getting out of the military fairly soon. Do you have that date yet, Mr. Mitchell?
No, sir, not yet. I'm still in the process of the medical discharge. So I'm waiting on the PT.
You're still in the process of what, sir?
Getting medically discharged. So the VA is like over all this. So I'm still waiting on a date from them.
And when you are in fact discharged, you are going to have to, you understand, get in touch with your probation department if you wish to move back home, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's not at this time, Judge. I'm hoping that he can finish all the terms and conditions and I can file a motion with the court, but let's see what happens from here.
Let's see what happens. Be compliant. Either an early discharge or a transfer is what's going to happen, right, Mr. McGloshin?
That's what I'm hoping, Your Honor. I'm hoping for the first, so.
Good, yes, and I'm open to that. I'm open to that as well, sir. Just comply, do everything you need to do quickly, Mr. Mitchell, okay, sir? Okay, anything else, Mr. McGloshin?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Very well, you all may be excused, Mr. Mitchell. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hope to not see you anymore. Good, thank you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. McGloshin. You do the same. Thank you, sir. Be
Bye-bye.
safe. Thank you. Okay, do we have, Mr. Canales, do we have Derek Caballero there, Mr. Norris's client yet?
We do, Your Honor. Let me bring him.
Please. Let's get ready. At this time, court calls cause number 2019-5822, Derek Caballero. Announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor.
Robin Norris from the Caballero, Your Honor. We're ready.
Good. Let's see. Mr. Caballero, are you there, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry for being late.
Okay, sir. Don't do that again. Mr. Caballero, do you see and recognize Mr. Norris, your attorney, on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Norris, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Let the record reflect that both have identified each other. Mr. Caballero, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Lower your hand, sir. I need your full name.
It's Derek Caballero.
Date of birth.
July 19, 1999.
And where were you born?
In Ciudad Juárez, Mexico.
And you are here represented by Mr. Norris, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Norris, do you waive formal arraignment in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any reason to believe your client is not competent to enter into this plea here today?
No, Your Honor.
I need to ask you, Mr. Caballero, have you ever been found incompetent by a court of law or by a doctor?
No, Your Honor.
I find you are competent to enter into this plea here today. I understand you were born in Mexico, so I assume you are not a United States citizen. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm a citizen, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
I'm a resident, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you a citizen or a resident?
Resident.
You're a resident. Not being a citizen, entering into this plea of guilty, you could face deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, denial of naturalization under federal law, sir. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than the plea bargain, you plead guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Did somebody promise you something else other than this plea bargain to plead guilty here today?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody threatening or forcing you to be here?
No, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty because you want to, or Mr. Norris is forcing you to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is Mr. Norris forcing you to plead guilty?
No. No, Your Honor.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Norris's representation of you in this matter?
Yes.
You've signed each and every page of States 1, sir. Did you read that document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand very important rights you've given up? Right to a trial by jury, right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify in your own behalf. By signing States 1, you've given up those rights, and do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you sign this document freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
At this time, does the state wish to make a motion to reduce your range of punishment or category of offense, Mr. Nunez?
Yes, Your Honor. This plea will be proceeding under the provisions of 1244B.
1244B, is there a victim, no victim impact statement? What's the plea agreement?
Your Honor, the plea agreement calls for 1 year of deferred probation, $100 in fines, and 50 hours of community service, as well as a UABA and curfew.
Is that your understanding of the plea agreement first, Mr. Norris?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Caballero, is that your understanding of the agreement as well, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you asking me to accept that agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand I don't have to accept it, right?
Mhm. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, and you also understand if I don't accept it, I'll allow you to withdraw your plea. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
The range of punishment you're facing is not more than 1 year in the El Paso County Jail and or a $4,000 fine. You understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understanding range of punishment, your rights under the law, sir, the plea agreement, how do you plead?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Evidence, please, Mr. Nunez.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the state would seek to admit as State's Exhibit number 1, the plea papers in this case, and the indictment in this case is State's Exhibit number 2. Furthermore, the state would proffer that if this case did go to trial, the state would be able to prove all of the allegations contained in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. And Your Honor, just on the date of offense, officers noticed 2 people inside of a vehicle, one of them being the defendant. They notated that it looked like they were fighting or there was some sort of scuffle in the vehicle. There's then a consensual encounter by the police officers with the defendant and the passenger. They asked if they have any drugs or paraphernalia. The defendant then admitted to smoking a little bit and they had a little left. And then he proceeded to hand over some bags of marijuana. And he is subsequently arrested and detained, where then they searched his person and they discovered the vape pen with THC wax in his, discovered on his person, Judge.
Very well. Any objection to the evidence as summarized by the state, Mr. Norris?
No objection.
Any objection to this admission of States 1 and 2, Mr. Norris?
No objection to the evidence, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 will be admitted. At this time, I will accept your guilty plea and the plea agreement, sir. I find that your plea and the agreement have been entered into freely, knowingly, voluntarily. I further find the evidence presented by the state does substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I am not entering a finding of guilt at this time. Instead, I'm deferring further proceedings. I'm placing you on community supervision for 1 year, sir. Terms and conditions of your probation include a $100 fine, 50 hours community service, a curfew. Let's talk a little bit about UA and BA testing. Mr. Caballero, do you think you have a problem, a drug problem that you want me to help you with, Mr. Caballero?
No, Your Honor. No.
No?
No.
Oh. Okay. I am going to have you report 2 times monthly with 24 hours notice. For UAs, if you are doing, it's going to be at a different time, different day, different week. You are never going to know when you're going to report, and you've got to report within 24 hours. If you don't, to me, that's a positive, right? I'm going to catch you sooner or later doing drugs if you are doing them, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your trial court certification, Mr. Norris, your client is not entitled to an appeal. It's a plea bargain case and he's opted for deferred, so he's waived it. Anything else, Mr. Norris, in this case?
No, nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Nunez?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. Yes,
on the plea papers, I signed them, but I forgot to put my bar number. Do you have the plea papers there in front of you?
I don't, but I will have them. But you know what? But hang on. I have to
I
get
see
back-
that, yes.
But hang on. I get them back from them with his fingerprint. So I don't get, for non-custodial pleas, the plea papers are not.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
have.
I don't think it like makes them moot or
Not fatal, I'm
invalid or
sure.
illegal or anything like that, but just
You want me.
for the record.
You want me to. You want Becky to send them to you before they're submitted to me, or you want me to put in your bar number? Or?
If you could, Judge, if you could, I'll email you my bar number.
Yes.
And then
perfect.
just if you could just add it in there when you're going to sign it, that'd be
Perfect.
great.
I have no objection to that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you,
Anything else,
Judge.
Mr. Martinez, Mr. Nunez, everybody good?
Yes, Your Honor.
You all may be excused. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank
Good luck to you, Mr. Caballero. We hope to not see you back again.
Thank you. Bye, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, we have Greg Anderson has not. Thank you, Mr. Norris. Be safe out there. Oh, he's gone. Goodbye, Mr. Norris. Have a good life. Okay. Poof. Okay, Mr. Canales, Marsha Alvarez is the next one, Mr. Canales, but we don't have Mr. Greg Anderson on the screen.
Well, she's here. She's ready. And also Mr. Omar Leonel Carabeo. They're both here. They're waiting for you.
Okay, very good. Very good. Let's get, let's see which attorney comes first.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Canales. You're doing a great job. You're making it very smooth over there. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. But you've been doing it for a long time. I know. I know. Okay, Miss Becky, can you call both those attorneys and get one on?
I'm sorry, Judge, I was on the phone. On who?
What?
You wanted me to call who?
Anderson and Eunice Reyes. See if one of them can get on the phone right now.
Oh, okay. Their clients are already there?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, Your Honor.
I just got a text from the detective.
Yes, ma'am.
This was at 9:30. I'll be
Yes, ma'am.
available till 4 if you can give me a call back.
Perfect.
So get on mute right now and call him, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah. Everybody's back, Mr. Anderson. We've got Ms. Nunes. Let's take care of the next one is Marcia Alvarez. Mr. Canales, we want Marcia Alvarez because Mr. Anderson is present.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson, can you talk to me, sir? Can you unmute?
I
You're
think,
You're good. I can hear you.
right, thank you.
Good. At this time, court calls cause numbers 2019-4344 and 2019-5425. Marcia Alvarez, announcement of council, please.
David Nunez for the state. Your Honor, stage is ready.
Greg Anderson for Ms. Alvarez, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Ms. Alvarez, is that you?
Yes, ma'am, it's me.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you see and recognize your attorney, Mr. Anderson, on the screen?
Yes, ma'am, I sure do.
And Mr. Anderson, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, now when I was going through the plea papers, 4344, I have no plea papers on her. Is that case going to be dismissed pursuant to agreement?
That is correct.
Good, okay. That's what I needed to know. Okay, Ms. Alvarez, please raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Lower your hand, ma'am. I need your full name, please.
Marcia Elizabeth Alvarez,
Date of birth.
March 17th of 1976.
And where were you born?
Las Cruces, New Mexico.
And you are here represented by Mr. Anderson, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Anderson, do you waive formal arraignment in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any reason to believe your client is not competent to enter into this plea here today, sir?
None.
Ms. Alvarez, I need to ask you, ma'am, have you ever been found incompetent by a court of law or by a doctor?
No, ma'am, I have not.
I find you are competent to enter into this plea here today. I understand you were born, did you say Las Cruces?
Yes, ma'am.
So I assume you are a United States citizen, correct?
That is correct.
Should you not be entering into this plea of guilty, you could face deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, denial of naturalization under federal law. You understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Other than the plea bargain, you plead guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason.
Yes, ma'am.
Did somebody promise you something else other than this plea bargain to plead guilty here today, ma'am?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Is anybody threatening or forcing you to be there?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Are you pleading guilty because you want to, or Mr. Anderson is forcing you to plead guilty?
No, because I want to.
And are you satisfied with Mr. Anderson's representation of you in this matter?
Absolutely, I'm satisfied.
You signed each and every page of States 1. Did you read that document or did Mr. Anderson explain it to you?
He went over it and I read it as well.
Did you understand, very important rights you've given up, right to a trial by jury, right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify in your own behalf? By signing States 1, you've given up those rights, and do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And did you sign this document freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
At this time, does the state wish to make a motion to reduce your range of punishment or category of offense, Mr. Nunez?
Your Honor, yes, we will be dismissing count 1, the theft count. And everything else will stay the same, Your Honor.
Count 1 of 5425, right?
That is correct, Judge.
But then you're dismissing the entire 4344.
That is correct. The state jail possession.
Right, okay. And there's no victim impact statement in the theft?
No, Your Honor.
What's the plea agreement?
Your Honor, the plea agreement calls for 2 years of deferred probation, UABA, as well as a curfew, and $3,000 in restitution to Elizabeth Reali Vasquez, and I'll spell that, Judge, REALIVASQUEZ. And it is to be paid in $125 monthly installments.
Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Anderson, first?
That is my understanding, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Alvarez, is that your understanding of the plea agreement as well?
That is my understanding, ma'am.
Are you asking me to accept the terms of that agreement?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
You understand I don't have to accept it, right?
I do understand.
And you understand if I don't accept it, I'll allow you to withdraw your plea. You understand that as well, correct?
That's correct.
State jail facility is not less than 180 days, no more than 2 years in a state jail facility and or a $10,000 fine. You understand that's the range of punishment, right?
That's correct.
Understanding range of punishment, rights under the law, the plea agreement, how do you plead in this case?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Evidence, please.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to admit as State's Exhibit number 1, the plea papers in this case, and the indictment in this case is State's Exhibit number 2. Furthermore, the state would proffer that if this case did go to trial, the state would be able to prove all of the allegations contained in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. And just a little bit of the facts, Your Honor. What is sent all stemmed from an agreement to purchase a vehicle. What happened was the complaining witness in this case had, or the defendant offered to buy the vehicle. The complaining witness ended up giving her the vehicles to go get the payment for the car, and the defendant never returned. Multiple attempts were tried to get a hold of the defendant, and none of them were successful. A police report was filed, and this case was ultimately indicted, and now that's what's before us.
Thank you. Any objection to the evidence as summarized by the state, Mr. Anderson?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection to the admission of states 1 and 2, sir?
None.
Mr.
No
Norris?
objection.
Mr. Anderson? Any
No.
objection to states 1 and 2 being admitted?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 will be admitted. At this time, I will accept your guilty plea in the plea agreement. I find that your plea and the agreement have been entered into freely, knowingly, voluntarily. I further find the evidence presented by the state does substantiate a finding of guilt. However, I am not entering a finding of guilt at this time, Ms. Alvarez. Instead, I'm deferring further proceedings. I'm placing you on community supervision for 2 years. Terms and conditions of your probation include $3,000 restitution to Elizabeth Reali Vasquez at $125 a month. You're going to have a curfew. I guess it's a 0 fine and 0 community service because I didn't get that.
That's correct.
0 fine, 0 community service. You did get arrested for possession of a controlled substance. Do you think you have a problem, Ms. Alvarez, a drug problem that you want me to help you with?
I have in the past. I've been clean for 1 year and 19 days now.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay, ma'am. Reach out to me if you need help, please. I'm here to help you. Okay.
I do appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm proud of you. That's awesome. 1 year and how many days and how many hours?
And believe me, I could tell you if I looked at the watch.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you. You're trying. You were proactive. You took it into your own hands, and I'm really proud of you. I'm gonna let you to help you. Do you think it would be good if we did 2 times? You have to get drug tested 2 times monthly with 24 hours. With 24 hours notice. That's gonna help you because you're gonna know. You're not gonna know when you have to report, the day, the time. It's gonna be different, and so that's gonna help you keep clean.
I'm
Okay?
open to any suggestions that
Great.
you have. I'm willing to take
Let's do that. 2 times monthly with 24 hours notice, UABA testing. And I think that's it. Your client's not entitled to an appeal, Mr. Anderson. She's opted for deferred. She's waived it, and it is a plea bargain case. Mr. Anderson, anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. I've counseled my client that that she should attempt to pay the restitution as quickly as possible, and that is her intent. So I don't think she'll be, just to let you know, I don't think she will be paying it at $125 per month.
Good.
I think she's going to make two large payments, but I'm not going to guarantee that, but that is her intent.
Good. You know, and before I forget, I mean, we could even consider an early discharge if everything is good and she's paid and done everything. Absolutely. Mr. Nunez, I don't recall getting a dismissal for 4344, nor a dismissal for count 1 of 5425. Did I get those papers? Because I don't think I did.
Judge, I emailed you the dismissal on the drug case.
When?
Just right now. So you should have it now.
Okay.
Yes.
I
I apologize for that. Yes.
Okay. So you have this the dismissal for 4344. What about count 1 on 5425?
That I don't have. I will email that to you now, Judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, we're going to have to discuss how we're going to handle these plea papers because I don't like these piecemeal plea papers. Okay. Thank you. Ms. Alvarez, go. Get the money, do great things, continue to be clean and sober. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Be safe out there. Thank you. Okay, the next one is Caraveo, Omar Caraveo.
Judge, and Mr. Judge, Mr. Norris got back on because he said they forgot to mention the misdemeanor case on his defendant, and he didn't know if that needed to be on record, but you should have received the paperwork on that.
Yes, Judge. Derek Caballero is pleading guilty to a misdemeanor case as well.
Okay. Okay. And I got the misdemeanor paperwork.
Yes, you should have the 3914s for the misdemeanor as well as the misdemeanor paperwork.
Okay, Mr. Norris. I have it supposedly.
Just didn't know if it needed to be on record, Judge.
And Mr. Caballero is still.
Mr. Norris? You want to put it on record just to be sure?
Yes, absolutely.
You're not, we can't hear you. You're not on the English station. You need to be put on the English station with this interpretation. That's why I hate this interpretation.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I had to click that again.
I know, that's okay, sir, because you got readmitted. You want to put the misdemeanor dismissals on the record, Mr. Norris?
Well, yes, I noticed my notes indicated that this was going to be a plea to the misdemeanor to run concurrently with the 1244B.
It's a plea, Your Honor, not a dismissal.
Yeah, but I noticed that the state's recommendation didn't include anything about that. So on the
okay. Hang on, 2019.
And I apologize for the confusion. Sorry.
2019 5822, announcement of council, please.
Ivan Martinez for the state.
Robin Norris for Mr. Caballero, Your Honor.
Okay, and you wanted to put something on the record, Mr. Norris, quickly.
Well, yes, and I want to notice that I instructed Mr. Caballero to remain there. Part of the plea bargain for the felony case that we just completed the plea on, which was 1244B reduction to a misdemeanor on the original THC felony charge, originally, according to my notes, included an agreement to plead to the misdemeanor possession of marijuana under 2 ounces and have that be deferred to run concurrently with the deferred on the felony charge. My notes indicated that, but you'll notice on the plea papers for the felony, the description of the state's recommendation to the court doesn't include any disposition at all of the misdemeanor, even though I think our agreement did actually include that. I think Ivan was just confirming that for us.
And I apologize for the confusion, Your Honor. That is exactly right. It's 1 year deferred, 1244B on the felony to run CC with the 1 year deferred on the misdemeanor POM case that he has pending.
Okay, and
So-
I have those misdemeanor papers, right, Mr.
I believe so, Your Honor. That is
Yes,
I'll give you the cause number.
Got it.
I did complete them with him and return them to the court, and I've also instructed Mr. Caballero to remain at the Campbell address, so he is there. We can complete the plea process with him present if the court.
I don't need to for misdemeanors. I don't. I signed the papers. Nothing is of record, is my understanding, so we don't need him. I'll just sign, just make sure I have the paperwork and I'll sign it.
Okay, you don't think that he has to actually enter a plea to the misdemeanor?
No, I've never done it. I've never done a misdemeanor plea. I wouldn't even know what to say or what to do. No, I just signed the paperwork.
So the paperwork will include a order of deferred adjudication on the misdemeanor to run concurrently?
You should have reviewed the misdemeanor paperwork, Mr. Norris.
I did.
Okay, so that's what you have to make sure that I get is the appropriate paperwork that reflects the plea agreement, because I don't know the plea agreement. So
You do have the paperwork. I did return the paperwork. I think Ivan confirmed that as well.
I have the paperwork, but I don't know if it reflects what you're asking me. So if you want to stay on, look at your emails, make sure what you got, I got, and it reflects what you're telling me, great. Then you can leave. If it doesn't, then we'll get back on and discuss it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I don't believe that he can be placed on deferred adjudication for any offense, including a misdemeanor, unless he enters a plea of guilty before the court to the misdemeanor and the court orders him placed on deferred adjudication. So,
Never in the entire history of my life have I done a misdemeanor plea on the record. Never.
well,
Never.
I'm just saying that that's my impression of the law.
Okay, sir. Well,
So-
I'm just telling you, I've never done it. All I've done is signed misdemeanor paperwork. But
Including an order for deferred adjudication on a misdemeanor.
I don't know.
Okay. And I'm not sure what Ivan's position might be on this.
Judge, my understanding is it's different for the misdemeanor courts. It's the 3914s, which, obviously 3914, but there's no separate motion for deferred in the misdemeanors. It's just the packet that I've got here that's been submitted to the courts. And let me just, for the record, I can say what the recommendation is. For the marijuana case, it's 1 year deferred probation, okay, $100 fine, and 50 hours of community service, UABA, and curfew.
Okay.
Concurrent with the.
On a misdemeanor deferred, Mr. Norris, I have no clue, right? I have no clue what to say, what to do for a misdemeanor plea deferred, if it has to be on the record or something. I don't know that.
Perfectly content to have the court sign the paperwork. All I'm actually saying, and the one thing Ivan didn't mention, is that misdemeanor he described to be concurrent with the felony 1244B reduction. All I'm saying is that when somebody's placed on deferred adjudication, whether for a felony or for a misdemeanor, the process is more or less the same, but it is not my impression that somebody can lawfully be placed on deferred adjudication for a felony or misdemeanor unless that person enters a plea of guilty before the court.
Okay, sir. Okay, and you know what?
So I'm just saying.
Since I am clueless about that, I respect your opinion and I will go by your opinion. I'll go by your opinion. So
should
no, you have to go to the misdemeanor court to get it done.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Should I schedule it for a plea in the misdemeanor court?
In the misdemeanor court, absolutely, absolutely.
I will do that. You have the paperwork, and I have copies of it. Maybe Ivan also has copies of it.
Yes, and what I'll do is I'll resubmit them to Mr. Norris so he can have them and take them to the court whenever he schedule it.
Or you can just forward them to the assistant district attorney in that court so that he or she will have those papers. I don't know who it is.
Well, no, don't, Mr. Norris, because you're questioning if those plea papers have deferred concurrent with this felony case, all of that. So you review it to make sure it's what you're saying it is.
Oh, well, I sent it in to Ivan, so I believe it is, unless Ivan has altered it, and I don't expect that.
No, I have not altered anyway.
Good.
But
I mean, you're the DA's office. You can give it to another DA,
Okay, we're wasting too much time and this isn't my case. Goodbye.
I understand.
Have a good life. Goodbye.
You know what, Mr. Norris, I'm just gonna submit the dismissal. There you go.
I said goodbye. Have a good life.
Thank you,
Judge. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next one is Omar Caraveo. I don't understand what you don't understand about goodbye. Have a good life. Hello, Miss Eunice Vegas. How are you?
I'm good, Judge. How are you?
Good. Well, I was great until 2 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago when they're taking my time that I'm timed with, that I've got time, right? Constraints, talking about a misdemeanor plea that's not even in my court. Outrageous.
Well, our case is in your court, Judge, and we only have one, so it should be something.
Amen. And no misdemeanor attached to it.
No.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you. Are you staying safe, Miss Eunice?
Yes, I am, Judge. Thankfully, I am.
Good. All of us are. All of us are. Okay, let's call the case. This is Omar Caraveo, 2019-2778. Omar Caraveo, announcement of council, please. Mr. Nunez, did you just say something? Because I didn't understand a word you said.
David Nunez for the state, Your Honor. The state is ready.
Eunice Reyes for Mr. Caraveo, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Do we see Mr. Caraveo? Is he there?
Right here, Your Honor.
There you are, Mr. Caraveo. How are you today?
Hi, good morning. Doing good, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Do you see and recognize your attorney, Ms. Eunice Reyes, on the screen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. And Ms. Eunice Reyes, do you see and recognize your client as the defendant in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Let the record reflect that both have recognized each other. Mr. Caraveo, I'm going to ask that you please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well, sir. Lower your hand. I need your full name, please.
Omar Leonel Caraveo,
Date of birth, sir.
March 11, 1982,
And where were you born?
here in El Paso, Texas.
And you are here represented by Ms. Reyes, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Reyes, do you waive formal arraignment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any reason to believe your client is not competent to enter into this plea here today?
No reason, Judge. I believe he's competent to enter this case.
Thank you. Mr. Caraveo, have you ever been found incompetent by a court of law or by a doctor, sir?
No, Your Honor.
I find you are competent to enter into this plea here today. I understand you were born here in El Paso, right?
Right, Your Honor.
So I assume you are a United States citizen, correct?
Yes, U.S. citizen.
Should you not be and you are entering into this plea of guilty, you could face deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, denial of naturalization under federal law. You understand that, sir?
Yes.
Other than the plea bargain, you're pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason.
Correct.
Did somebody promise you something else other than this plea bargain to plead guilty here today?
No, Your Honor.
Is anybody threatening or forcing you to be here?
No, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty because you want to or because Ms. Reyes is forcing you to plead guilty?
I want to move forward with this, so I'm pleading guilty.
And are you satisfied with Ms. Reyes' representation of you in this matter?
Yes.
You signed each and every page of States 1. Did you read that document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand very important rights you've given up, right to a trial by jury, right to confront witnesses that are brought to testify against you, and the right to bring witnesses to testify in your own behalf? By signing that document, you've given up those rights. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you sign this document freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
At this time, does the state wish to make a motion to reduce your range of punishment or category of offense, Mr. Nunez? Mr. Nunez.
Sorry, Judge, I thought I was off mute. No, Your Honor.
Is there a victim impact statement?
No, Your Honor.
What's the plea agreement?
Your Honor, before I say the plea agreement, I just want to let the court know there is a PR bond violation affidavit. I think you should be aware of.
What?
PR bond violation affidavit that was on May 5th. May 15th is when it was signed by Loretta Mata. I just want to let the court know before they accept this agreement, Your Honor.
Hang on a second.
And if I may on that, Judge, I spoke to Ms. Gonzalez about it, and she said that as long as he was on his unit, because we had been asking the court and telling the court, he unfortunately, because of COVID-19, lost his job and didn't have money. He wasn't be able to afford it. So then he got back onto his unit and he is current and up to date. And Ms. Gonzalez told me that as long as he was current and up to date, that we were able to finalize the plea and that you would recall the warrant.
I was going to say, who is Ms. Gonzalez?
Becky. Sorry.
Okay, yes. Who's Ms. Gonzalez? I don't remember Ms. Gonzalez in the PR bond office.
No, Becky. Sorry, Judge.
She did talk to me about it. She did. She did talk to me about it.
Becky.
Let me see. He was reinstated due to a revocation for skipped. He's been reported as instructed. Has been deactivated, meaning he's no longer testing.
The machine locked him out, Judge, because he couldn't afford it. And then he got the new machine as soon as he possibly could. And he's been on the machine and he hasn't had any violations.
When did you get the machine, Mr. Caraveo?
It was only off for 2 weeks, Your Honor. I got it back like 2 months ago.
Okay, sir. I'm going to let it slide this time. I mean, I told Becky to tell your attorney, but sir, money is not an excuse anymore, sir. I'm sorry.
Yes, I understand.
And I know you're unemployed and I know the COVID and I know all of that, but I have a zero tolerance when people do not have a unit that need to have a unit with a DWI third or more, sir. I have a zero tolerance. So I'm warning you, sir. One more okay, I don't have the money, I can't do it, so I'm not gonna do it for 2-3 weeks. I'm gonna issue out a bench warrant and you're going to jail. Okay, sir?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, that's taken care of. Okay, where did I leave off, Mr. Nunez? Thank you for bringing that up to my attention, Mr. Nunez. I appreciate that. Did I ask for the plea agreement? Is that where I asked?
Yes, Your Honor. So the plea agreement is 5 years confinement, TDC, probated for 5 years, 10 days ACOP, DWI repeat offender school, victim impact panel, sober link, $500 fine, 250 hours of community service, UABA, and curfew.
Is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Ms. Davis?
Yes, Judge, just with the caveat that we were going to ask the court for his 10 days ACOP, he does have more than 27 days because of the COVID-19. If the court could give him credit for the time that he's already been in jail before.
I can't because it's ACOP. The statute says ACOP, so it has to be after he pleads guilty.
Okay.
So I can't give him credit. I even think even in the midst of this COVID, I can't give him credit for that.
Judge, and on this, is there any way that we could arrange that he do those 10 days sometime within those 5 years, or does it have to be exactly?
It doesn't have to be exactly. I'm going to wait till this COVID thing kind of calms down. I'm going to say in 60 days.
Okay.
Let's see if it's not gotten better, the COVID, right? You need to file another motion to amend it and modify it and extend it for another 60 days or 90 days or whatever. Hopefully we'll calm down in 60 days, but maybe we won't. But I'm not going to force him to go to jail right now with the COVID, okay? So just know that, okay? But I can't give him credit.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes. So is that your understanding of the plea agreement then? Yes?
Yes, Judge.
Yes. And Mr. Caraveo, is that your understanding of the plea agreement as well, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you asking me to accept that agreement, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand I don't have to accept it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you also understand that if I don't accept it, I'll allow you to withdraw your plea. You understand that as well, correct?
Correct.
Range of punishment, you're facing 2 to 10 years in the penitentiary and or a $10,000 fine. You understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understanding range of punishment, your rights under the law. The plea agreement, sir, how do you plead?
I plead guilty.
Evidence, please.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to admit as State's Exhibit number 1, the plea papers in this case, and the indictment in this case is State's Exhibit number 2. Furthermore, the state would proffer that if this case did go to trial, the state would be able to prove all of the allegations contained in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. And Your Honor, on the date of offense, the defendant was stopped for running a red light. So the traffic stop was conducted, and upon making contact, the officers noticed signs of intoxication on the defendant. And when asked if he had anything to drink, the defendant said no, but he had smoked weed earlier per the report. The defendant then consented to SFSTs, and after the HGN or the eye test, he refused to continue with the tests, and he was subsequently arrested. And he gave a breath sample where the blood alcohol content came back to a 0.213 / 0.211.
Wow. 0.211.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objection to the evidence as summarized by the state, Ms. J.S.?
No objections, Your Honor.
Any objection to the admission of states 1 and 2?
No objections, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 will be admitted. At this time, I will accept your guilty plea in the plea agreement. I find that your plea and the agreement have been entered into freely, knowingly, voluntarily. I further find the evidence presented by the state does substantiate a finding of guilt. Therefore, I find you guilty, DWI 3rd or more. I hereby sentence you to serve 5 years, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Institutional Division. However, said sentence is going to be suspended, sir. You're going to be placed on community supervision for 5 years. Terms and conditions of your probation include 10 days ACOP, the DWI Repeat Offender School, Victim Impact Panel, the SCRAM Unit, $500 fine, 250 hours community service, UABA testing 2 times monthly with 24 hours notice. Let me ask a question, Mr. Caraveo. Do you think you have a drug problem that you want me to help you with?
No, Your Honor.
No?
No, I don't have a drug problem, and the drinking has. The machine has helped me. I go to
okay, sir. Do you have the sober link?
Yes.
Scram unit?
Yes, I have the scram unit.
I'm telling you again, 2 things. I have some compassion for putting you in jail during this COVID time, right? So I'm going to suspend your 10 days ACOP for 60 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have a son with special needs, and that means a lot to me. I was terrified right now going there.
Okay, sir. But what you have to do is make arrangements for your son who has special needs. Make arrangements. You have 60 days.
Yes.
Okay, so make arrangements with a family member or something to take care of him. Okay.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
I have compassion for you regarding that. So Mr. Castañeda, in 60 days, you're going to give him the 10 days that he has to turn in himself at noon. 60 days from today's date.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Now, I will not have any compassion for you, Mr. Caraveo, if you do not pay for that machine and you are out in El Paso community without that scram unit.
Yes, ma'am.
I will issue out a bench warrant immediately.
I understand that.
You need to be out there with a alcohol monitoring device, the scram. You're not COVID or no COVID, bench warrant, and you're going to jail. Please understand that.
I do. Thank you.
Okay, I hope so. I made it abundantly clear. Your client's not entitled to an appeal because it's a plea bargain case, Ms. Reyes. I don't remember if I told you that. Okay, sir. I said UABA testing 2 times monthly with 24 hours notice. Did I say that? Because I think you do have a drug problem and obviously an alcohol problem, Mr. Caraveo. I believe that. So I'm going to find out with 24 hours notice, you're going to report different days, different times. Let's see if you come out positive or not.
Judge, and just so the defendant's aware, I did the calculation. 60 days from today's date is September 7th.
Okay, sir. There you have it. September 7th at noon, you got to turn yourself in for 10 days, sir. Miss Reyes, if it is bad still and the numbers are bad and the jail is raging, please let me know. I don't even think we need a hearing because I will be compassionate and we'll just do it another 60 days. Okay.
Yes, Judge. I will keep it abreast for my client so that we can make sure that, and we do thank you for that, Judge.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Ms. Reyes, anything else in this case?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Nunez?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you all. You may be excused, Mr. Caraveo. Take care of this special, beautiful son that you have, sir. You need to comply with all my rules so that you can stay out there and take care of him. You don't, I'm going to issue out a bench warrant for you. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You may be excused. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Ms. Reyes, thank you. Nice to see you. Stay safe out there.
Bye. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Okay. I think we are done with my docket, right? Mr. Canales, you made this process. This is the first time I've done this before because I thought I would be in my own courtroom by now.
We all thought.
Mr. Canales, you did a fabulous job, sir. I
Thank you, Your Honor.
very, very much. Once again, we're going to set all these at a time certain at 10 o'clock. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that way we could probably manage it a little bit better. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, you are awesome. Stay safe there. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Judge,
Bye-bye. I'm getting off the recording though, okay,
okay,
Mr.
of course, of course.
Then we'll go ahead. Yeah, okay.